You missed the hilarity that was the cats trying to walk around on the damp carpet.
Oh no, is there video?
No, I didn't get any video.
Ah!
Archer was like spread out and was just like trying to like wobble everywhere.
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah,
I hate
he's like,
it.
I just
hate
don't. He's like, I can't handle anything right now. I was locked in a room for like 2 hours, and now like everything's different. Nothing smells the same.
Yeah, he was up on the counter, and Tony yelled at him. He's like, "I know you had a bad day. Don't be an asshole."
That's about right.
Right, Archer?
He's just having a rough go of it today. Everything's different.
Last time he got on the counter, he got chicken parm out of the deal, so I can't really blame him.
Yeah, motherfucker stole a piece of chicken parm and decided he wanted to chat out on it.
Uncool.
Which is fantastic, so we put like cayenne and shit in our chicken parm.
Yeah.
You know, so...
He likes to have a spicy butthole.
Yeah,
did wanna have a
he's gonna now.
He's gonna have a spicy butthole.
But yeah,
Almost time to sing Christmas songs.
next time that we steam clean our carpets, I'm just gonna like video the cats as they walk out, and
hell
just
yeah.
like you can see how stupid they act, and they just like can't
It
handle
looks
their
like
shit.
it's really quiet, actually.
I don't know. Willow was up here at some point. So
Willow's always up here at some point.
Willow fucked
Yeah,
with something.
Nothing's muted. Nothing.
No, well, let me go
looks-
take a listen to it. I can tell that it's. I mean, you can just look at it. It's too quiet.
Yeah, it does look.
Because that was our
It looks a lot
normal
quieter than normal.
Yeah. I mean, the only knobs you can really hit is the big one, unless she really works hard at it. So
Yeah, we got double chat going on.
that's fine. Makes it easier for us.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna
Bump it up just a little bit.
not move that, and then testing what this sounds like, or what the wait. Okay, yeah, that actually looks a lot better.
All right, yeah. Hey, greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. Audio testing 1, 2, 3.
Is it weird that to test this, we look at what a sound wave looks like rather than just listen to it?
Once you get used to it,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
just
So
easier that way.
yeah, no, I can look at it and tell you pretty much what it should be like.
Oh yeah.
But
No, I get that. I'm just not for the sake
Are
of
you
like
saying-
it being weird in
But if I
general.
was-
I'm saying that it's
Is
ironical.
it like a Black Mirror thing?
But I could
Yes.
by monitoring it through here, it sounds different because the headphone output that I'm using is not the same as the line out strength or like level. So I have them set to two different things.
I know some of those words.
Okay. And then if I was monitoring it while we were doing it through here, there would be a delay because it has to
Right.
do the thing.
Did you update our the last thing you have to update, which is
Our
the
thingamajig.
thing that,
fucking hit some buttons.
the thing that tweets it and all that is shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Tweet some shit.
Maybe I did. I don't know.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. My brain's fried today. It's been a long weekend.
Oh man, that's
For-
like your vacation day too.
For a 3-day weekend.
Yeah.
You know, I just realized something like today. I think one of the vacation days that I put in for that I'm going to have to go back and correct is the day that you and I are training.
Oh yeah.
'Cause we're
Oh,
only
did you
trying-
put in for that Friday?
Yeah, I put in for every Friday.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go in tomorrow and correct it.
Yeah.
because-
Is there a Friday that you're doing it?
You just take the following Monday off.
That's fine.
I won't be there that week at all, but I mean, Steven can handle it.
That's fine. Yeah, no, Hector and I are doing a SQL boot camp.
Oh,
So,
that's gonna suck.
yep.
Nah, it's one day. We get to go downtown, so it's closer than normal work,
Yeah.
and it's right before I leave for vacation, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So then you come back to work and not remember a single thing you did to the boot camp
Oh
for.
shit! Yeah, no, I'll
That's-
forget
that's
everything.
the-
I'm gonna
that's
be
the
like,
point.
James, what did we learn?
Just use your phone and I need to get a beer before we start this.
Do it.
Just take your phone and just record the entire thing.
You're already all settled in. What do you want?
Beer. I don't fucking
Just grab my beer.
beer.
Reaching in, magic random beer. That's the first one I saw.
Okay. I'm drinking a session IPA called Noisy Cricket.
Yeah, by Friends and
I'm
Allies.
having the.
Yeah. I don't know. Did they
I got
really?
the variety pack, by the way.
No,
Oh yeah. Oh, they had that. They were sampling that at the store, and I didn't get to try it, and that made me mad because I couldn't try the. Because they have a new one that's in there that I wanted to try.
It's very light for a pale, actually.
Rio Blanco. I'm not familiar with this one.
Yeah, I'll try it.
But yeah, no, they have a new one that's part of that,
Yeah,
and
so
I
bad.
asked them why the fuck they wouldn't make a Nomad part of it that gets its own 6-pack. They're like, well, you can buy like 32 ounces. I was like, no, I want a fucking 6-pack of
Yeah.
it. You son of a bitch. He's like, well, we're not going to do that. I'm like, well, you're fucking idiots. You sell it in fucking 12-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
But I can only get 2 of them at a time. You fucking assholes.
I can't get drunk to this.
It's not bad. No, it's called Noisy Cricket, but like, I can't. Can I really drink a beer that's named after a gun in Men in Black?
Maybe.
I mean, I've drinking beers named after dumber shit.
Right.
Yeah. I've drank beers named that are like the worst puns I've ever heard. Like a dad would be ashamed.
Yep.
Like I don't know if it's like if there's a different story behind the name of it, but for me, when I hear Noisy Cricket, I immediately think of the first Men in Black.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
All right, you ready to?
I was just thinking, like, what if you had your own beer company and you named your beer like really weird stuff, like Stormtroopin' and the Poopin'? Just sell it would sell so well.
No, that's awesome.
You're not allowed to name any of the beers that I make.
You're now allowed to name all the weed I ever grow when it's legal, though.
That would be amazing. All right, let's do this.
I'm gonna name the first one Shoop da Whoop.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Then we're gonna mix it with Charger My Lasers.
It's gonna be all like memes from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Rafflecopter goes soy, 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 soy. All right.
Sony's pulling out of E3, and that's a good thing? Adventurers, gear up for an all-new episode.
Are you really not going to make a pulling out joke? I'm just saying. It's right there.
I couldn't think of anything.
I'm going to mention you didn't make a pulling out joke
the
later.
name of the
okay?
episode is about pulling out.
I was gonna say is like Sony's the last one to pull out of E3. It's we don't really need to leave it and go anywhere else with that. I don't think.
no.
Like, that's everybody else finished already. Microsoft, Nintendo already just like, yeah, that hooker's spent.
Yikes.
Sony's like, I'm gonna fuck this dead corpse.
You got so dark.
See, it still seems relatively quiet, but I don't know, it's fine.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
Necrophilia.
That's a weird spot to start the show on.
What's this podcast about, newcomers?
Right, exactly. It's not the type of podcast, Tony.
It's that kind of podcast.
And with us as always our third chair host, Hector.
This is all because I mentioned that James didn't make a pulling out joke after the title, but
That's true.
this is how where we arrived at.
It seemed too obvious.
I think.
Well, yeah, but then necrophilia happened. Apparently,
Well, Sony finally arrived, and now they're leaving E3. We'll talk about that later in the epilogue.
Yes, we
Exactly.
will.
And if you're new to our show, welcome. This week we'll be talking about the repercussions of Sony pulling out of E3 this year. But before that, we have a recap of all the nerd news that's fit to rant about for your ears. Don't forget that you can keep connected with us at thesurlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for The Prelude.
Like, I kept turning you up, and then at the very end, you're like, adventure! You're like, and now it's fucking too loud again. Like, you had one word that is like, it was just like, and you're not there, and you're not there, and now we went past it. Now we're at 11.
That's what happens when we peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were edging for a while, now we've peaked.
Now we peaked and it's over.
Prelude.
All right, this is The Prelude. This is what we've been doing with ourselves this week, what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what's been occupying our free time. Tony, why don't we start with you this week?
I went and watched the new Fantastic Beasts movie.
Yeah? How was it? Were there a lot of Fantastic Beasts in them?
There's actually some really cool monsters they had in this one.
Did
I
we
actually
discover
liked it.
where to find them, or was that last movie? And this movie,
Well, the first one was Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
right?
And
We found
That's-
them in that
well,
movie.
we
They were
found-
all in that briefcase.
yeah, they're all
Yeah.
they're all in his suitcase.
Yeah.
Spoilers, I haven't watched it.
You never. Well, okay, it came out 2 years ago.
I just haven't been able to bring myself to want to watch
Okay, so the
extended
first one-
universe Harry Potter.
That's fair.
Okay, so the first one I didn't really necessarily enjoy that much. I think it was just a little bit too childlike. It just didn't seem that interesting.
Yeah.
The darkness of the story was really only in the last 30 minutes of it,
Yeah,
where it really
true.
went anywhere.
You didn't really find it that fantastic.
Whereas this one,
Well, the beasts were fantastic.
there's a much larger cast. It is a much more in-depth storyline. It unfortunately fucks with the established plot or timeline within the Harry Potter universe.
Okay.
And this is angering pretty much everybody because we know there's 3 more movies, and we're like,
So,
you have to fix
Wait,
this.
3 more even still. They've already
There's-
made 2, and there are 3
There's
more.
5 movies in total that will be happening.
So I'm ignorant about this series because, again, I haven't watched it. I've only watched...
that's one of the many things you're ignorant about.
It's true. That's why we do a news show. And it's okay to be ignorant about things as long as you educate yourself eventually, which is why I'm asking you the question.
No,
Cool.
As somebody who does not know about
I will
this.
drop the knowledge wing
Yeah.
in your brain.
What amount of influence did J.K. Rowling have with these films? Is this something that
She's writing them.
Okay, she actually is writing.
Whereas in the original Harry Potter movies, she wrote the books,
Right.
and then she had somebody else write the film scripts because she was just new to Hollywood. She was just starting out.
Yeah.
She influenced the scripts for the Harry Potter films by saying like, "Hey," by talking to the writers like, "Hey, I want to change this," and her going, "No, you can't change that, or you cannot cut this. This is what you can cut out."
Right. Famously explaining to Alan Rickman the whole role of his character during movie 1 when nobody else knew.
Yeah,
literally nobody else knew but her.
Yeah, that was the. For a lot of people, it was amazing
Yeah.
because they didn't I hate Snape to this day. I think he's a horrible piece of shit. Even with his stupid fucking backstory. Wah, you've got fucking friend zone. Shut the fuck up. Like
He's a hardcore Snape.
Dang.
Voldemort,
I was pro Snape.
Voldemort's the
I
best
was pro
one,
Snape.
and I'm very anti-Snape. He's a fucking little whiny bitch.
I think that I realized when I was reading the books very early on that he was a red herring.
Yeah, I mean,
That was the thing of it. There's like a lot of people are just like, oh, I hate Snape so much. I mean, he's the most obvious red herring.
Right,
in the
he was
world.
totally,
Like,
he was
the
literally trying too hard to be
The
mean.
only way he would have been like more of a red herring is if he had red hair and his name was like Professor Herring. Like that's the only other way.
I would not put that past Rowling like at all.
no, but she's the writer of these films, so
Yeah, okay.
she is straight up writing the scripts
So
for them.
this is established
This
canon.
is
then.
exactly what she says goes, and
Okay.
most of us are going, but no, you fucked with the timeline.
Okay.
It's hers to fuck with.
So
to
I
be
would like
fair.
Yeah,
to.
but she's spent years establishing this timeline to many people, explaining so many extra information, going, hey, this is more backstory, and then she's like, I'm gonna put it right, and it's pooper.
Right. So I think that's something that we should do for a future episode for an epilogue. That would be a really great talking point for all of us. Is when does a work of fiction belong to the creator and when does it belong to the fans? Because the
a good idea.
argument that you're making right now is that the fans are saying like you're fucking up your own shit, but maybe.
But we're all going, well, you have 3 more movies. This could just be one of your plot twist things, and that's perfect. We're like, we'll give you 5 movies. But at the end of it, you fuck with it. We're really not going to be happy with you.
Right. Okay. What about you, Hector? You did a lot this week.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So I saw 4 notable movies this weekend. I watched a lot of movies. It was kind of like me taking me on a date.
Yeah.
And I will.
Did you at least give yourself a hand job?
I mean, yeah, I'm single.
I mean, you went out for dinner, right? I mean,
See,
you took yourself out for
so the
dinner.
worst part is he went to Alamo Draft House, and when you order popcorn there, it doesn't come in a paper bucket. It comes,
Oh,
in,
that's
it
true.
comes in a metal
Right.
bowl. You can't
I
cut a
didn't do
hole
it
in the metal bowl.
theater, guys. I'm not
Yeah.
an animal. I went to the bathroom after the movie and wanked one out.
I mean, you saw 4 movies back to back, so you were just basically taking a break.
Right. Okay. So I didn't see them all in the theater. I saw the 2 best ones in the theater, but maybe okay. So I'm going to rank them in order for how I feel about them right now. Starting with my least favorite, which was Outlaw King, which I still really liked.
I
It's,
enjoyed Outlaw King.
on
What is that about?
Netflix. It's about Robert the Bruce after the death of William Wallace,
Okay.
and their struggle to take back Scotland. If anyone's at all familiar with the movie Braveheart, it's basically
This
Braveheart.
is what happened after Braveheart.
Braveheart's epilogue.
Right.
It
Even though
was-
Braveheart was like way historically inaccurate.
Right. Yeah. Completely.
This is way closer.
Yeah, and it was beautifully shot. The movie starts with like this. I kid you not, like 16-minute one take. It's just
Wow.
absolutely gorgeous. The fighting and the war scenes were just super brutal. Brutal. The second movie I saw was Black Klansman.
That was good.
That was awesome.
It is a fun movie.
And it's about?
It is a true story. It is a Spike Lee movie. It is a true story about a black detective in Colorado Springs, Colorado, who infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan on the phone as an undercover agent. And he had a white agent take over for him when he needed to appear in person. And they basically put together and thwarted a terrorist bombing by the Ku Klux Klan.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it's something that I've been wanting to watch.
Very cool. It was Spike Lee. So
he also he modified the truth
He did, but
from the book.
The thing that struck me about the movie is, as much as I liked it because it was a good movie, I was horrifyingly uncomfortable the entire time.
Right.
The racism was so overt that I had a hard time, like, paying attention to anything but how racist everyone
And Tobey
was.
Maguire is the leader of the Ku Klux Klan. most like it's like the sweetest, nicest.
Oh
Tobey
yeah,
Maguire,
David Duke is a figure like
and then
that
you
too.
and then you realize you're like, you are a horrible piece of shit that you are portraying this very well.
Okay, so second to best, I went to go see Bohemian Rhapsody, and oh my god, like
I've heard nothing but good stuff.
I was
about
always a Queen fan.
Is it going to win all the awards?
Maybe. Here's the thing: it's not a biopic. It feels like a Freddie Mercury or even just a Queen biopic when you see the trailers and you see everything else, but it gets some details wrong and it embellishes some things for the sake of drama in a movie, but Jesus Christ, if that movie doesn't love Queen. Like, everything about it, the entire soundtrack, the movie ends without really any kind of spoiler, with basically a 20-minute Queen concert.
Wow.
Like, I'm not even, starting Rami Malek. Like, I'm not even kidding. I loved every second of it. It felt like a superhero story. It felt like a story about the birth and life of a legend, not like a biopic trying to tell the true story of Freddie Mercury.
because they left out a lot of the drug use and
and they confused a lot of dates also for this, and a lot of drama for the sake of drama.
Right,
Yeah,
because that was one of the things that I was curious about. I didn't want spoilers about the movie, but I was curious if they went into Freddie
Mercury
Mercury's his lovers.
Right. So yes and no. They basically they highlight like one of his best relationships, and then just basically it show that he discovered later in his life that he was gay.
Right.
Like he just came to grips with it. He actually first announced himself as a bisexual, and then was told by the woman who was his lover and best friend, is like, you're gay.
Right.
we only do it in the butt. You're gay.
But yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. Even if you don't like Queen, you'll like Queen by the time the movie's over. I wanted to stand up, clap, and shake my ass in the theater. Wow. Like it was a lot of fun. I wasn't the only one. The theater was packed full of people during the concert. Towards the end of the movie, like so trying really hard not to stomp their feet.
So this is like Alamo's gonna have to do like a sing along version.
Oh,
of
dude,
this.
it would
like,
go insane
soon.
And so, what was your number one?
Number one, and Jesus Christ, I've said this so many times this year. I went to see Suspiria. This one might take me a second. If anyone listening is at all familiar with Dario Argento's classic Italian horror cinema, Suspiria, it's a really cool movie about some witches who have taken over a dance school in Berlin in the 1970s. So there's a lot of, really horrible politics and all kinds of crazy shit going on before the fall of the Berlin Wall, the whole deal, right? So the movie is very much the old one. I'm talking about Argento's version. Very much about the witches, lots of gore, lots of practical effects, lots of bodysuits. If you've seen that movie, absolutely go see this version because it's 100% different.
Okay. Nothing, is it? Because my understanding was that basically they just tried to do a literally set for set, shot for shot remake of the original. Set
for set, absolutely. The sets look incredibly similar, down to like a lot of the furniture. Shot for shot, no. The soundtrack and the color tones of the original are very loud and bombastic with a very thumping soundtrack. The modern one is a lot of muted grays, and Tom York does the soundtrack, which you can imagine just in your head what that must sound like.
Really pretentious.
Very, very low key, and with lots of like high pitched voices and very, just very subtle sounds.
Right.
And it's supposed to give you a feeling of creep, and Tilda Swinton is a world treasure. We do not deserve her.
She apparently plays like 6 characters in the movie or something.
And I didn't realize it until the movie was over. I had no idea she plays anyone except the person she lent her face to. But she played multiple other characters, and I had no idea the entire movie.
Right.
Okay. The ending was so incredibly satisfying, and this tells you nothing about it, but the ending was so incredibly satisfying. I honestly wanted to watch it again when it was over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
Is that because you now have like full knowledge of everything that had happened in the movie?
Yes, and not because I needed a rewatch, but because I felt like it deserved one. I felt like I could sit through this again, notice all the cool shit I didn't the first time, and love the movie even more.
Nice.
It's been an incredible year for horror. And if someone sat me down in a movie with 2018 in a room with 2018 horror films and said pick the best one, I would die of starvation.
Wow. That is impressive. That is a
The Haunting of Hill
high
House.
high recommendation.
I'm sorry, I'm going with The Haunting of Hill House.
So yeah, I was actually thinking about The Haunting of Hill House the other day because of all the horror that I've watched recently. The Haunting of Hill House is the one that like has really stuck with me. Like I found myself thinking about it more outside of having seen it. Like I'll look up articles and like don't get me wrong, there was stuff like Hereditary I absolutely loved when I watched it.
Yeah.
But nothing's really made me sit down and think about it in depth the way that Haunting of Hill House has. But it's again hard to pick one at this point.
It really is, and I can't recommend enough for both of you. Watch Suspiria any way you can. It is fucking phenomenal, and the fact that it came out this year is the only reason it's not my best horror movie of the year. And you know what? It still might be.
Wow. Okay. I really didn't have a whole lot this week. I was busy with life-related things. Been playing a little bit of Divinity. Just trying to catch up on my Soul Calibur and whatnot. I will say that what I will be doing at some point this week is this week marks the 10th anniversary of the original Left 4 Dead. So it's time to dust that bad boy off and play some.
Oh, today, by the way, today is the 20th anniversary of Half-Life.
Wow.
Damn. Weirdly, so this is something I know about both of those games, is they both recently got like extra super enhanced for the Xbox One X.
Oh yeah.
So that's even more reason to play them on Xbox.
Yeah, there you go.
Because they're even better now in 4K.
All right, that's everything we have for the prelude this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 1 comic book news.
Oh, that could have run longer. I guess that wasn't that bad.
No, I mean we ran a little bit longer than we have been.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I thought it was.
I had to yell about Harry Potter for a little while.
I thought it was going to take me forever to talk about those movies, and I mean, after Overlord last week, I wasn't expecting.
Overlord. I was wanting to watch Overlord, and I was trying to decide. I was like, okay, should I go watch Overlord or should I watch Fantastic Beasts? I was like, fuck it. I didn't watch the first one in theaters.
Yeah,
I'll watch this one.
You want the spectacle,
Yeah.
the theater experience,
And I can totally see why to go see it in 3D because it's got so much CGI.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like the cutest fucking amazing. It's a Chinese like cat dragon thing.
Okay, yeah.
And it jumps around and it smashes things and it's fucking cute as hell. And the way they get it to like go into the briefcase, like the suitcase, is the best fucking thing in the world. And like out of like the first movie and this one, you're like, that was great. That was so good.
That's exciting.
And Zoe Kravitz is in this one, and she's fucking hot as hell.
True that.
A lot of her wearing a very nice, form-fitting satin dress. No bra. What are we going? Video
Comics.
games?
Comics.
Okay. All this shit, like Prelude was up next to Entertainment earlier, so like I just all these things are the fucking way. There we go. Level 1 comic book news.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. All right, right around the corner, we are going to be hitting the 1000th issue of Detective Comics. It's hard to say that, by the way.
1000th?
Yeah, issue of Detective
At
Comics.
the end. You just
I've got a dry throat, all right? I've been doing a lot of drinking this weekend and not a whole lot of water drinking.
Yeah,
So.
it's DTH. It's hard.
Yeah,
man.
it is hard. It's a hard.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, the
No, this
1000th issue of
sounds are all
Detective
wrong.
Comics is coming right around the corner. So DC's going to be handling this the way that they handled the Superman, the Action Comics stuff.
Okay.
Issue. It's going to be 96 pages. It'll be an anthology. It'll be just kind of a bunch of short stories about Batman. Right, and so the Superman one was pretty good. We got some really fun stuff in there. We got some kind of dark stuff. So one of the really cool aspects that we found out this week about this issue of Detective Comics is that a character that was created in a video game will be added to the Batman canon now.
Ooh.
So the character of the Arkham Knight is now going to become an in-canon character in Batman's comic book universe.
Neat.
However, the caveat to this is that because part of the game is revealing who the Arkham Knight is within the game, they said who it was in the video game will not be who is in Batman in the Batman comic book series.
That's super neat. Okay, I dig that.
I never played those games.
so.
Okay, they're all worth playing, especially the first one. But after you play the first one, you'll just really want to play the rest of them, and they've all aged incredibly well. You can
Yeah, I
play
mean,
them all
at
right
their
now and
core,
they feel
the
modern.
Batman series is essentially a Metroidvania with just a really cool set of combat mechanics behind
Yeah,
it.
the way everyone kept jizzing over Spider-Man, and what was the most used phrase, makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And which, I mean, it really, the game doesn't make you feel like Spider-Man. The game lets you feel like Spider-Man. Batman was the exact same way. Like, I've never grasped the the feeling of controlling Batman more than that. Like, it's way too good.
Yeah. So they are definitely worth revisiting or just going to if you've never played them before. But yeah, this one character who's a unique character created for this game is now entering the Batman canon officially. And that means that maybe he's only getting a short story in,
The Bat canon.
Detective Comics.
How did we miss that? How did we miss that a few weeks ago? None of us ever said the Bat Cannon.
With all the bat penis jokes we've been making lately, I thought the well had run dry.
Apparently not. We have to keep trying harder.
No, I've seen the comic. The well's pretty moist.
All right, so moving on from DC, we're going to talk a little bit about Archie. I know that a lot of us have been really hype about Sabrina.
Oh, yeah.
We've been watching the Netflix show. Some of us have been reading the Chilling Tales of Sabrina comic that's been coming out.
Hell yeah.
Definitely go down and pick that up. By the way, if you like the Sabrina Netflix show, go pick up the trade paperback for the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Yeah, it'll fuck you up.
You could
It will fuck
totally
you up.
like get it for somebody for Christmas that liked it, and then they can watch the
Christmas special. Yeah, right
So
on.
yeah, it's like a gift that keeps on gifting.
Exactly. So, of course, nobody's complained about the new Sabrina stuff. They've all been really enjoying it.
Right.
There have been some people, though, that are like, this is new to me because this is not the Sabrina that I grew up with. And there's a very...
Melissa Joan Hart, is just you can't top that.
Right. So there's a very specific reason for this that people who aren't fans of comics don't know about, is that prior to the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina in Archie Comics, back when it was a wholesome comic and not what we have now, Sabrina was a teenage witch. The Melissa Joan Hart show comes from the kinder, gentler, story-driven Sabrina stories back in the day.
It was basically Bewitched. It was just Archie Comics like rip-off of Bewitched, or vice versa, whatever order that came in.
Right.
But they're obviously, just modern housewife / teenage girl who happens to have powers and gets into shenanigans.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
And
So,
her cat talks.
Yeah, and
of
it's a cat
course,
talks.
Archie is looking to kind of rectify the situation. So what they're doing is they actually got a new writer on board named Kelly Thompson, and she's coming in and she's going to be working on a Sabrina the Teenage Witch miniseries. It's going to come out in March. It's going to start as a 5-issue miniseries. They're not going to be doing the horror tropes. It's all going to be the lighter stuff. It's about her moving to Greendale with her aunts and going to high school and all that stuff that people enjoyed in the original runs of Sabrina.
Right. So basically, just entirely different story from
I
what I'm already tempted to call actual Sabrina.
We have zero fucking reason to have this. Zero
You
reason.
have zero reason to have this because this is not something that appeals to you.
Right.
However, there are enough fans that have been
as
clamoring for
comic book
this.
readers acknowledge that it got better.
Well,
Like,
yeah, okay, we did, us adult men all
Right.
in this circle right here. But, I mean, there's a 13-year-old girl somewhere whose mom will absolutely not let her read The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but she might let her, have this as a cool side
Archie
character.
Comics is not trying to get away from
Right.
what they used to do. I mean, when they rebooted Archie, they went into it and said, all right, so there's a rebooted Archie universe. It's going to be a little bit darker than before because we're going to tackle some real world issues. But for the most part, it's still going to be, Archie from back then, but in modern times.
Right.
And they said, but then we have the Riverdale universe.
Yeah.
Now we have the Sabrina universe. And so all they're doing is answering fan demand so that you can pick up an Archie comic at any age and have something for
No,
you.
you are right. Like, I get it. There's a reason why there is a younger Batman comic book, then
And
there's
Teen
the adult,
Titans
and then there's their
yeah.
Teen Titans, and it's just not for me.
Sure.
And I felt that like Archie Comics had come so far in their modernization that this is kind of like them falling backwards, and I didn't want them to do that.
Forget where you came from. And if Archie can continue making comics that a kid can read, at 8 whatever,
Yeah.
8 to 10. That means when he gets to 13, 14, maybe he sees a scary movie and says, I would like something like that. Instead of turning to a different comic book company, he gets to stay with the comic book company he's grown up reading and say, oh, there's a different version of Sabrina that's a little darker. Let me try this out.
Yeah, I know. I hope that little 8, 10-year-old girl reading the Sabrina the Teenage Witch sneaks one in when she's a little too young, like 13, and she's like, ooh, this is like the more adult one. Whoa, this has a lot of Satan in it.
When did all this Satan come into the equation?
Right. And so, but that's, for a lot of us, that's how we discovered horror in general. We snuck the VHS off the top shelf and popped it in while our parents were not home or asleep or something.
So,
I was left unsupervised a lot.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I just watched whatever the fuck I wanted.
Someone was like, Tony, don't do this while we're gone. And you're like, fuck you.
No, there was no rule for Tony, don't do this when you're gone. It's we'll be back later. Cool. I immediately just put on whatever channel I want.
It explains so much, doesn't it, Hector?
Quite a bit.
This is what happens when you don't supervise your... Tony is what happens when you don't supervise your children, right? Let that be a lesson to any parents listening to this show right now.
See, this is the lesson that should be learned from this is don't have 4 children. Because by the time you get to the 4th one,
you're
care. Fucking exhausted. You're like,
done.
I'm done with all of this. I hope you survive.
You look at the other
Go
three,
with
and you're
God.
like, you raise him. And they're like, what? And you're like, whatever.
Yeah, no, see, that's what, maybe 2 children, because that way you can keep an eye on both of them. You don't get exhausted.
You're never outnumbered.
3, you're just like, you're pushing your numbers. By the time you get to 4, because I was the 4th one, yeah, you're tired, exhausted, you just don't give a fuck.
Like, go with God. All right, so we're moving on from Archie Comics and talking, wrapping up everything in comic book news up by talking about Marvel. So, a couple fun things to talk about here. One, obviously, Chip Zdarsky just finished his run on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Everybody was sad to see him go. Probably nobody more than Chip Zdarsky. He's just a huge Spider-Man fan. It was one of the saddest comic books I've read in a while. Was his goodbyes to everybody in that universe. We also know that going on right now in Marvel, we have what they're calling the Death of Daredevil arc. We don't. I don't personally know a lot about the story because I haven't picked it up to read it.
Yeah, I don't know.
We just know
about
that's what it's called, and that theoretically by the end of the series, Daredevil might be dead. We don't know.
Huh. Maybe it's like one of those Batman Death in the Family things where it's like,
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're going to call it a Death in the Family, but at the end, no one dies. Spoilers for Batman Death in the Family. No one dies.
So the big thing about this is that we found out this week that Chip Zdarsky is coming out of nowhere and is going to start writing Daredevil.
Rock on.
Right after the Death of Daredevil arc, Chip Zdarsky picks it up and is going to start working on it. I am calling
Is it
this...
really hard to write about a character that's dead?
Well, guess we'll find out.
I mean, they've been doing that for Wolverine for years.
That is true. There was like 20 Death of Wolverine issues.
We're going to say there are 12 Halloween movies. He dies at the end of every one.
So we got a poster this week that was just Daredevil's mask, and all it said at the very bottom was "No Fear," and that's when the announcement that Chip Zdarsky was going to take over.
It was kind of on fire.
Yeah, working on Daredevil. Heard a thing. I am calling it right now that Chip Zdarsky's run on Daredevil will become one of the most iconic Daredevil runs out there.
You're just saying that because Chip Zdarsky does everything, and then everything he does turns amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly the reason I'm saying it. But when you think about Daredevil, you think about Frank Miller, you think about Kevin Smith, because actually he had a pretty good run on Daredevil. Like, these are iconic writers who picked up Daredevil and changed the character, made it different, made like his plight seem human,
Right.
made him a street level hero that we could actually relate to.
Added all those hyper-religious
I
undertones.
have a theory.
Yeah.
I have a
could be
theory.
bunnies.
What he's going to do? Instead of being blind, he's going to lose all of his other senses and only have vision. He'll have supervision.
That would just make him Peter Parker without the ability to be Spider-Man. He'd just be this like fumbly nerd.
But he can't hear, he can't talk, he can't feel anything, he can't smell anything, he can't taste anything. He can just see shit real fucking good.
Dang.
I don't know. For me, I feel like it's hard because of, yes, I do watch the Netflix Daredevil show, but it's hard for me to really want to go to a comic book store week to week and go, I absolutely want to pick up a Daredevil comic. Like,
Yeah.
it takes a lot to convince me that I want to spend my $3 to $4 on that.
No, I'm there with you. I think I like it better when Daredevil's more like the butt of a joke.
Right.
Like, he just happens to be along with you. Like, whenever he meets Deadpool, it's like the fucking most hilarious thing you've ever seen. Because who can you fuck with more than Daredevil?
Right.
Right?
And he works great as a side character. Like when with the Superior Iron Man, there was a scene in which Tony Stark gave like Matt Murdock his vision back,
Yeah.
and he wasn't doing it to be nice. Like he did it as a straight up dick move. He's like, by the way, here's your vision back. Good luck. And he just like pieced out.
Oh.
And
rude.
yeah, it was a total dick move. But like I said, it's hard to convince me to go to a comic book store week to week and pick up Daredevil. I feel like this might be the one.
Yeah?
I feel like Chip Zdarsky working on Daredevil. I'm like, yep, I'm going to be there every month, and I'm willing to see where this is going to go. Especially if we're running to the end of the Death of Daredevil arc. Mm-hmm. How do you pick up from that?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, good luck, I guess. All right, that's everything we have for comic book news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into level 2 video game news.
So that's being super weird, right?
Yeah, no, it's being super
What's
weird.
being super weird?
It's like on like a 10-second delay from where it says we're recording to where it's actually showing up in the thing.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's awkward.
Yeah, I'm gonna save it, close it, and reopen it. Just to,
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah,
I already
just-
closed Firefox. I'm like, it shouldn't be like there should be nothing else running. There's no running out of memory going on.
Right.
I mean, I could totally love double the amount of memory. That'd be fucking great. But that's a later kind of fuck off.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, file save.
But yeah, can't recommend Suspiria enough. I have a feeling about you. I think you would like it maybe even more than I did.
People who have seen it and know that I like horror have told me that I should probably carve out the time to actually watch it in theater.
For real. For real. The theater experience, I felt like it absolutely enhanced the movie while I was there. Because I usually, I'll watch horror movies in the theater if it's, going to be really iconic. Like I went to see Halloween, right?
Right.
But most of them, I'll watch it in my living room. It's better, because I can, get, a little too drunk and, really, absorb myself in the movie. But in this, man, the theater was the way to go for this movie.
Yeah.
I've already mentioned the Tom York soundtrack, but my God, does it enhance the movie. And... yeah, everything about the movie was awesome. I didn't know that you could use choreographed dance as a way.
By the way, check. Can you hear us okay? Is everything
Oh,
sounding
yeah.
and looking good to y'all? Just want to make sure.
Chat, are we good?
Mixer's moving, so
Oh, yeah.
yes, it has to sound just as good as
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, so there's a lot of interpretive dance, and it's totally a narrative movement. Like it moves the narrative along just basically through interpretive dance, and I was so there for it. And I didn't think I would
Is it
be.
like that episode of Room 104 that's entirely done like interpretive dance?
No, because this is good.
That was good.
First off, Room 104 is amazing.
Yeah, do you know
Not all of
104?
Room 104 was amazing. Room 104, there were some very good episodes, and there were some that were just garbage.
There were some that I didn't enjoy as much as others. But I also haven't started the second season, so that's
Was there a second season?
It just started.
Oh,
Yeah, they're on like 3
See,
or
I'm
4
totally down for it. I didn't.
Yeah,
I
you got,
didn't
like 3 or 4
dislike
episodes
Room
out.
104.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and apparently.
Oh wait,
it's
wasn't
the-
it HBO?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh sweet, I can just watch it then. Nice.
Yeah, no, it's apparently the same like hotel room.
Yeah.
I was expecting maybe them to change locations or something and
And
do
why-
anything else, and no,
Nope.
we're just gonna keep going down that rabbit hole.
I'm excited for
Why
it.
have hamburger when you can have filet mignon? It's that.
I just thought maybe we'd do like Room 105 the next year or whatever or something,
All right.
Change it up. Room 237. Let's
You know-
not
you
go
know
to Room
that scene-
237.
Let's
Let's
not
never
go
go
to
to
Room
Room 237.
You know that scene in Haunting of Hill House where Susie's in the hotel room, and she sees bent neck lady in the hallway, and
Yeah.
it really fucks her up. That shitty little hotel room. The whole time, all I could think was Room 104.
I would love for them to do an episode of Room 104 that
Just
is
Susie in the hotel room
just
and
a
weird
continuation of The Haunting from Hill House. And just well, by the way, you didn't know that we hated an entire other episode in another series.
We had a whole nother show in
Just
here.
the whole family shows up and has to share this little 2-bedroom shitty hotel room, and it's all just one long shot for 35
Right.
minutes.
I would be there for that.
Oh,
It's
fuck
just-
Why are we making good ideas?
Yeah.
This starts like, let's make fun of this. And like, no, this is actually smart.
Someone
good
hire
idea.
us to give you ideas to write about.
Right.
Why can't we even start our own company? It's called like, our ideas are better than your ideas.
Yeah.
I feel that way often about this show.
Right?
We know the best ideas. we
Just do what we say and all the industries will be fine.
God damn it! Can't you just listen to old white men?
Right.
For once.
Hey, we've got an Hispanic dude, so
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, true.
I legitimize
We're diverse.
this
Yeah.
whole thing.
All right, let's do this.
Yep. Video game news.
Let's see if it's not going to act up weird. Level 2, video game news.
Hey Adventurers, welcome back to the show. Alright, so we are in Level 2 video game news, and let me tell you, it has been a rough year for the Command & Conquer franchise.
Just this year?
I mean, in general.
It's been a rough life for the Command & Conquer series.
It has been. In fact, this last year, of course, at E3, they announced the Command & Conquer mobile game,
Yay.
which everybody...
To one applaud. One person just...
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Just one person
the
going
announcement
like,
of mobile
I'm
CNC.
doing this because they paid me to.
It's been a difficult year to be a Command & Conquer fan, and like you said, for a lot of years, it's difficult to be a Command & Conquer fan. But we finally...
Most of us just let it die. We're just like, well, we were done.
Yeah.
But you keep trying to resurrect it. Like, quit zombifying Command & Conquer. Let the damn thing die.
Yeah.
So there is a light at the end of the tunnel for this. It was announced this week that 1995's Command & Conquer Tiberian Dawn and 96's Command & Conquer Red Alert are going to be getting a remaster collection.
Well, Red Alert was the best one. So.
Right. So this will actually have the primary games, and all of the expansions will be remastered as well.
Neat.
And the news only gets better, by the way. They actually said they're pulling in a lot of the original team to come in and work on this.
Dang, Westwood Originals.
Yeah, they're getting the original Westwood team together to go ahead and work on a lot of this. And they said, before anybody on the internet freaks out and wonders what we're trying to pull with this shit, there are no microtransactions. There's no fucking extra attached to it. It is, we are making a remaster. You pay for the remaster. You get the remaster.
Like, you may have bought this game $60
Right.
a while ago, but you're paying $60 again because we remade the fucking game.
Even if you wanted us to try and take more money from you, we're not gonna.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to give us $60,
Yeah.
and that's the fucking end of the deal.
Maybe
And I love
$60
them for that.
again if
That's
you want to
good.
buy it twice, but that's it.
I feel
Give
like...
it to a friend.
Yeah.
I feel like that, while I'm excited for it, because I am a Command & Conquer fan.
Oh yeah.
I am excited for it, but I feel like this is one of those. And I need to be honest with our audience here, because our audience needs to understand this.
Do it. Speak some truth.
Every time you see a game that you hadn't thought about in years get a remaster suddenly out of nowhere, and it's put out there and everybody gets excited, that studio is testing what the marketplace looks like for doing a new one.
Yep.
Well, with like one exception.
Maybe. Yes.
Well, no, it's specifically, I was thinking of, what's the spinny fox dude from the PlayStation games? Fucking Crash
Are you
Bandicoot.
talking about Trash Bandicoot?
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot.
It's a bandicoot.
I said Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah.
He's a trash
You
bandicoot.
called-
You said Trash Bandicoot. and it
right,
goes,
but you called him a fox.
yeah, but I couldn't remember what the fuck he was. All right, god damn it, some bitch. I'm trying
How
to
do you
remember.
not know what a bandicoot is, man?
Right?
Because I'm not from whatever island Bandicoots are from. All right, so
It's New
they
Zealand,
released.
by the way.
Fucking I don't care. It's a fucking island. It's the size of like
I don't know where that
not Texas.
No, me neither. Shit.
Okay. And whenever we released the remastered edition of that was not like a test. Like they're not. They were like
No.
They didn't even. People was like, well, they're making more Crash Bandicoot. And they're like, after they released it, by the way, we're not doing this. We literally just wanted to make more money by making.
I
this
mean,
game.
every
But
statement-
not all the time.
Right.
Is it this theory?
Yeah.
Right.
It was basically entirely made so that they could have that one like 8-minute joke in Uncharted 4
Right.
where you play Crash Bandicoot. But they couldn't put the original Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted 4 because you can't have a game in 480p rendered in a game at 4K.
So 99% of the time when you see this kind of stuff,
Yes.
a lot of it has to do with the publishers going, do people want this? Is there room to keep
Darksiders
going
did it with Definitive Edition.
Right.
And it's funny how often this is happening right now, considering what just happened to StarCraft 1 with RTS games, because we haven't had an RTS game, I mean, since StarCraft 2, and before that, another like 8 years was Warcraft 3,
Yeah.
Frozen Throne.
And I don't think that the Warcraft 3 remaster is actually about trying to get people's interest.
No,
at
that
all.
was
You don't think-
that straight up came from people that were fixing it and trying to get the servers back up and actually getting it done, but having to do it illegally.
Right.
And then they got shut down, and it was the same thing as the reason why World of Warcraft's getting its vanilla server. It's we actually do listen to our fans and give you what you want, we are going to allow you to play this again.
Yeah, hold on to that statement because we're going to be talking about Blizzard here in a minute.
Blizzard, for the little bit Blizzard does correct, and it takes them a year or a couple of years to get to that point, they do a whole lot of fucking stupid along the way.
When we're going to get to that stupid here shortly. But yeah, the long and short of it is I'm really excited about them doing this Command & Conquer remaster. Do buy it if you're a Command & Conquer fan, because the fact they came out and said within the first like 24 hours of this announcement, no microtransactions, no bullshit, just buy the game and have fun with it. I was like, yep, I'm on board. I'm gonna buy it again. This will probably be like my 5th time buying Command & Conquer Red Alert because I kept losing my discs. So fuck it.
At least at this point you'll have a digital code and it'll like stay somewhere.
Right?
Why do I feel like Red Alert 2 is better than Red Alert?
Not that I remember, but I only played Red Alert 2 like once. So.
All right.
And yet I bought the giant Generals box too that had like everything.
Honestly, it was so long ago that I can't remember a fucking single thing about these games.
It's hard to remember the difference.
All you need to remember is that
played it.
Red Alert has one of the most amazing intro themes of any video game ever.
That is true. And all the little the full motion videos and the actor who played Kane.
Yeah.
If they manage to get him back, I will shit.
You'll just literally shit.
I will just shit when
I don't know.
I
think Fallout 3 still has my favorite intro.
That's all right.
And it's just really good. It's just the war never like it's so fucking good.
Mm-hmm. Ron Perlman is a gem.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so this next news point I'm going to hand off to Hector because he knows a lot more about this than I do. And while I find the topic fascinating, I feel like you'll educate us better about it.
Okay, so Artifact is the card game from Valve that nobody asked for.
Mm-hmm.
It's a CCG.
Valve made a card game?
Yes, Valve made a game.
Valve released something?
Okay, so I want to say 2 TIs ago at the International Dota Tournament, Valve was like, we're releasing a game. We're going to show you what it is. And the entire internet got hard. And then they're like, it's a CCG like Hearthstone, only based on Dota. And flaccid. Just immediately flaccid.
Yeah, no one wants this.
They were last. It wasn't Diablo Immortal bad, but it was like kind of a sneery, really? So, the game's coming out. We're finally getting a real picture of what this CCG is going to be all about. They have some of the original Magic the Gathering creators. Like
and I like to call it Diablo Go, by the way.
That's fine. Diablo Go is good. So here's the issue with this. Unlike Hearthstone, unlike Magic the Gathering Arena, unlike Gwent, this game functions monetarily like an actual collectible card game, meaning nothing is free. And when I say nothing is free, I mean nothing is free. When you buy the game, you $20 buy-in, you get 2 pre-constructed decks, 12 packs of cards, I want to say 10 or 12, and a couple of tickets. And tickets are used for drafting. Because at any given time, when you draft in the real world, you either bring your own boosters or you pay a fee and you get supplied with boosters.
Yeah, you pay
when
for
you start the draft.
To
you
do
basically
the draft.
pay for the privilege of playing this game with other people. In this game, it's the exact same way. You either buy boosters and get into the draft, or you buy into the draft by using something called a ticket, which you can also buy. You can win these back for winning, but if you want to draft, it's going to cost you about $12.
Okay.
Yeah, and so
I can see why people wouldn't want this because,
Right,
at least in the real world, I have actual cards.
And here's the thing, and this is what they're moving to address, is a lot of people are pretty upset by this. Not with the fact that they're going to be spending a lot more money on this than they probably did on Hearthstone, but because they don't really own their cards. Because you can't really price something like rarity when there's technically an infinite number of cards.
Yeah, it's just it's a 1 and a 0. You can just make as many as you want.
It's really about availability. But on the already functioning and fully fleshed out Steam marketplace, you will be able to buy and sell cards from people. You cannot, however, trade cards with people for a lot of the reasons that Valve said that that's a bad idea and will destroy the market. Mm-hmm. But you can sell people your cards if they're rare. You can buy cards from anyone else on the Steam market, which is already a huge issue because of all the money that will be changing hands, which when you think about it, if the game takes off, would be an incredible amount of money taking place on the Steam
even if only
marketplace.
Even if only a fraction of each transaction goes to Valve.
15%.
15%.
Every sale, they get a 15% cut. And now, when you think about this money, the thing is, you're pumping actual dollars into a Steam wallet. You cannot extract dollars from a Steam wallet. All you can extract from that wallet is Steam games.
Okay, so I'm just going to throw this out there. Blizzard tried this with Diablo 3. It fucking failed horribly.
Right, but it wasn't a CCG.
It wasn't a CCG. It was Diablo, which in my opinion, is better.
Well, and that's fine. Whether you think it's better or worse, the incentive to buy packs of cards and to construct further decks,
and it wasn't the same thing with this, but it was a real money service that was being offered that they took a percentage of.
Right, but they were also offering you real money back.
Yeah, you actually could pull the money out.
Right, and in this, you cannot.
But you can buy Steam games.
Yeah, the money's in your Steam wallet. If you end up with $10,000 in your Steam wallet because you just ran that market, you have $10,000 worth of Steam games to buy.
That's it.
This sounds okay.
Right. So, I mean, what they're not trying to do is disrupt the actual economy. What they're trying to do is have the best I don't know, homunculus of an economy that they can create.
I'm going to make a Steam game, and it's going to be Steam trading card game simulator, economic simulator, where all you have to do is just sit there and trade cards in the Steam marketplace.
Right. And, I mean...
that's what you do in my
To be completely honest, people do end up making money off of things like this. There was a guy on the Something Awful forums years ago who I used to buy Steam games from. All you had to do was become his friend, and he could gift you games.
What's stopping people from selling them on a separate website?
Selling what?
The cards.
How would you do that?
Because the only way you'd be like, all right, I'll put this card up for sale for you.
You cannot trade cards.
It's not trading it. It's you putting it up and be like, it's okay. Literally, I can log into 2 separate accounts.
Well, what would
same thing?
Okay,
but click sale and like make it where only one person can buy the thing.
What is the point?
To make sure that no one else except for you gets the thing.
If I put up a card and say, here's $10 for this card, and 10 people show up and say, I want that card for $10, you go, okay, well, now it's $12. Instead, one person goes, I'll give you $10. You're like, okay, let me go to this other website.
Are they actually going to do that where you can increase the cost of the card?
Oh, yeah. No, have you never used the Steam Marketplace? You can fuck with everything. You can fuck with everything.
I bought like some
and there's
games
all kinds of economic graphs that tells you like what this card was worth at its most valuable, what its least valuable, and this is for like Steam hats. This is for like
I have a bunch
everything.
of like weird Steam card things from playing games, and I go,
all of
quit
those,
alerting me about shit I don't care about.
All of those have actual monetary value, and you can sell them all for actual like Steam wallet money.
That's fucking dumb.
Yeah, and there's a lot of them, and they're really hard to manage.
Quit gamifying my fucking like just place I log in to play a game at.
Right. All right, let's get back on track
So
here.
back to the topic. A lot of people, like Valve heard these complaints and they're moving to address some of them, but a lot of people have basically blasted this as a pay for everything game because you pay for the game, you pay for the cards in the game, you've given basically nothing for free.
And you have to pay to play against other players.
Right, well, not all the ways. You can play against your friends, you can play in just free and open gameplay, play constructed.
But tournament stuff you have to pay.
But for tournament stuff where there's any ability to win prizes, as of right now, you buy into those games if there are prizes involved. You can even set up your own tournaments as a player for your friends or for anyone who wants to join this tournament. But right now, there's no mechanic for a player set up tournament to offer prizes. Therefore, people don't have to buy in. But the goal right now is if there are prizes, you buy into it. And it just keeps money flowing through the card game. Will a lot of people pick it up? I don't know. But from what I can tell, it's a very well-made game. The embargo lifted today, and I've been watching some people play it on Twitch today, and it looks great. It looks better than Hearthstone ever did. It's more complicated, very deep.
Do you think that it can exist in a world where Magic the Gathering Arena, which is so good
and
free, can survive?
I honestly don't know. The only normally I'd say no. Why would anyone want this? But knowing the pull of A, Dota, and B, people's hunger for CCGs. I mean, when you look at something like Magic the Gathering, they worry. At Hearthstone, well, I mean, they weren't worried. They were Blizzard. They didn't give a fuck. But Magic was worried about whales because people would come in and be like, "Oh, I want 10 grand worth of cards." And it's like, I don't know what this does to our economy. What does this do to the balance of the game in general? And they're like, "Shut up. Here's 10 grand." And so that kind of stuff gets really popular among anything. If someone will spend, and this is a real figure, $40,000 on Candy Crush, there's no way to tell what people will buy. But if this takes off, considering the install base of Dota, then it could be huge.
But also, I feel like the Venn diagram of people who play Dota and people who like card games is like not that huge.
I really couldn't tell you. I know a lot of people who like Dota, and only one of them is really crazy about collectible card games. So I mean, we'll see what happens.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on from there to our last topic for video game news this week, and we're going to be talking about Blizzard. Okay, so so Blizzard announced Diablo Immortal at BlizzCon, and it didn't go well.
Diablo Go. Let's just call it what it is.
Someone in the
It's
back
just
played a trumpet. It went. Wah, wah.
And it was not well received, and they've
Sad
been
trumpet.
trying to fix, the mess that they've made.
the
at
giant
BlizzCon.
PR disaster with the. You have phones.
Don't y'all have
Right.
phones?
So, unfortunately, they seem to have doubled down on the PR disaster this week. One of the executive producers over at Blizzard says that basically we're working on mobile titles for almost all of our IPs, just so y'all know. Diablo is just the first of it. We're working on, Warcraft. We're working on StarCraft. I don't know. We'll figure out how to put Overwatch in there somehow. We'll even dig up the old shit. It'll be a fucking, Three Dirty Dwarves or fucking, Lost Vikings.
Lost Dirty Dwarves, Jesus Christ.
Fucking Lost Vikings or Blackthorn or some shit. I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay,
they
so you know
dig
what
that
this
up.
reminds me of? There's this early Louis C.K. stand-up comedy bit where he talks about the late stages of his marriage before he got divorced from his wife, when he was just in there just being married, just angry on the couch, and his wife realizes that he hadn't gotten laid in a while, and she's just not into it, but she's like, fine, would you like a hand job? And he goes, I guess. And that's just how sad being married is at that stage when you're ready to be divorced. And he's talking about you can't go to my bedroom, there's too much nice shit in there, so we went to my daughter's room. And the audience goes, ooh, and he goes, what? It's my house, fuck you, I'll shit in her bed if I want to, it's my bed, I bought it. And that's how I feel this response is. Diablo
just them
goes,
shitting in whatever
Diablo
bed they
Immortal,
want.
and everyone goes, boo. They're like, no, fuck you, we're doing it to all the franchises, I'll shit in your bed if I want to.
That sounds about right. This is so ridiculous. Sometimes as fans, and maybe I know that we have a different perspective because we read a lot of news.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're different than the average Blizzard fan out there. But we look at stuff like this and we say to ourselves, Hector, we'll talk at work, and I'll be like, how did any of this get past a PR person? Who decided that
Right?
this should have happened?
Yeah.
Nobody thought about the repercussions of an announcement
so
like this.
all right, so one of the problems is Blizzard is an old man. Blizzard does not understand what the kids want anymore. The Overwatch team is slightly different because it's Jeff Kaplan and they're starting something else. The rest of Blizzard,
Yeah, please separate those two.
no, it's basically you have to because Overwatch
Yeah.
is so separate from everything else that Blizzard does.
It really is.
That you watch that and you go you watch Jeff Kaplan and the Overwatch stuff and you're like, cool, you're making interesting changes. You're constantly working on your game. You're fixing it. You're modifying
Constantly
it.
listening to the
and
fans.
then you watch Blizzard, the rest of it go, well, this is the stupid thing we're adding to World of Warcraft. This is the stupid thing we're doing to Diablo. For some reason, StarCraft will
in
come
my
out with a
head,
game eventually.
the way that I picture this, and I'm sorry that I have to use an anime reference for this, but I picture Jeff Kaplan is this nice older brother character in an anime, and then Activision Blizzard is running at him, and he's just holding his hand on his head, and he's just just stop yelling, just get away from me.
I
just
put in the
stop.
loot boxes. That's all you get. Leave
That's
me
it. Just
alone.
stop. Yeah, it's fine. Just go away.
And that's the problem is Activision is killing Blizzard.
I need to be a little more cynical than this. And you're probably right. It probably does have a lot to do with the Activision influence. But rather than the old man analogy, I honestly believe, as sad as it makes me, that they knew exactly how big the fan backlash would be for this, and they did it anyway because money.
But here's the thing
They
about
didn't,
it, though.
they didn't care that they were going to
When
piss off all their fans.
Activision started getting their hands on Blizzard, everybody was so busy reassuring people it's fine. We're still doing
It's
our
fine.
thing.
Uncle
fine.
Touchy
It's fine.
only touches you sometimes.
And it's fine. Look, here's Overwatch. It's shiny. Isn't this super Blizzard? There's no Activision in this, and
Right.
it was great.
Yeah, but now we're at a point where we're hearing these releases, and I'm not saying, by the way, that you can't do a mobile title.
No.
For the record, recently.
No, just don't literally
No.
change the assets from an existing
For the-
game
yeah.
to make it
No,
Diablo.
what I'm saying is that for the record, recently, I decided to reinstall Fallout Shelter.
Oh, okay.
I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I haven't played this in a while.
It was a unique experience based out in the Fallout universe
Yeah.
on how to live in your own fucking bunker.
Yeah.
I played it when it first came out. I got kind of tired of it. There wasn't content being released fast enough.
And
so
now
I
you
said,
can
"Fine,
play the same account on every fucking system you can think
Yeah.
of.
So I just fucking load that bad boy. It's also something that I can just play at work. So I just throw it
Yeah.
on there and ignore it for 3 hours and go and check in every once in a while. But I started playing Fallout Shelter again, and I was like, you know what? There's a lot of merit here. And the fact of the matter is, when they announced it, nobody was angry.
No, well, because they were announcing Fallout 4.
Yeah.
And they were like, so Fallout 4, we're going to show you some of this. Look how cool this nuclear explosion is. And this
Also
vault.
coming out this year.
And you're like showing your face. Oh, and here's Fallout Shelter. And everyone goes, oh, okay, neat. And they're like, and you can download it right the fuck now. It launched today. And
Yeah, it launched 5 minutes ago. You just didn't know about it.
No one's going to be mad at that.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, let me check this out while my Fallout's about to
Because
come out.
I'm super
And if-
excited. It'll prepare me. It'll keep my excitement going.
And
for
if they
this
had
thing.
said, so here's Diablo 4, we'd been like, oh my god. And then
Fuck
like,
yes.
so also releasing today, here's a little Diablo mobile game you can play right now. People would have been grateful.
Yeah.
Not sign up now for the chance to maybe play this game in 3 to 6 months
On your phone.
on your phone. That also we're not actually doing like a full release for like a year from now, so like nobody's gonna play it. So why are you even fucking announcing it first off?
If they had said like, here's this Diablo Immortal game, so basically it's a reskin of a Chinese Tencent game, and we just but it's Diablo, it's got Diablo stuff in it.
Except
Y'all
we're going
love
to tell everybody that we actually did all the assets ourselves.
Right.
And
But
they
you'll
like
love it.
tripled down on saying it is not a asset flip game, even though the internet has gone. This is literally an asset flip
This
game.
is the definition of an asset flip.
Like this is Flappy Bird all over again, guys. Like, come the fuck on.
So Hector did have one thing that he wanted to talk about a little bit, because I know that we were deep diving into Blizzard and kind of we've been worried about the direction that they're going in, but something else did happen this week that was maybe was the final nail
Was
in that
questionable, or was it
was-
just like?
Remind me again. I thought there was going to be a note.
So yeah, the note is literally right there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, what ended up happening this week is that one of the people who used to work on Diablo, David Brevik, he worked on Diablo 1 and he worked on Diablo 2, right? He was on his wife's live stream, and he was a little drunk, and he said some things.
He decided to tell the truth.
He doesn't work for Blizzard anymore, by the way. So
this is the man who basically created Diablo.
Yes.
Saying the truth about what happened at Blizzard and what Blizzard has become.
yeah.
Hector has the notes in front of him. He's reading them. I can see he's making it. I'm reading face.
I know that there was an aspect of what he was talking about where he was mentioning that, the culture that was Blizzard back then is not the culture that it is now.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Basically, the people used to love to work for Blizzard. I mean, it was making a name for yourself. And now there's no incentive for them to be competitive with anyone's salaries, because people, and this is something that bothers me about a lot of the industry, and I'm looking at you fucking Bethesda right now, is the video game companies still consider it a privilege to let you work for them. And the more and more people our age are realizing that this is just a job and you're being abused. And this is what he was opining over. And funny enough, his wife was doing a Path of Exile live stream when he got in and started talking about this. Literally while playing Path of Exile, talking about Diablo and how he used to work for Blizzard. And it was basically, yeah, like there's just, like, why would you work at Blizzard if you're trying to make a name for yourself at this point? You used to work for Blizzard to get into the industry and say, like, I worked on fucking Diablo. I worked on Warcraft 2, motherfuckers. And now, what are you going to say? I worked with Tencent on Diablo Immortal?
Well, and also apparently, like, they talked about how Blizzard eliminated its profit sharing program.
Yes. Because they weren't paying competitive salaries, they had a program in which you would share in the profits of the games you were working on, and it had something to do with stocks. It was complicated, but what it translated to was that you would get extra money at the end of every quarter based on output of what you were doing, and that is gone now. They just did away with it quietly.
It seems like something that should stay, but also keep your salaries competitive.
Did it quietly, like earlier this month. So there's basically no incentive for this.
Yeah, and so Brevik also talked a little bit more as he was going on this drunken rant, and he says he actually predicts that there will be a mass exodus from Blizzard over all this stuff that's been going on. He thinks that people are going to be tired of their shit at some point and say, like, yeah, we did want to come here because we love Blizzard, but the way that you treat your employees is garbage.
Yeah.
The question is, will Blizzard take these notes and try and recover from it, or has Activision gotten? Has Activision gotten so balls deep that it doesn't matter?
Yeah, no.
The list of companies
Blizzard doesn't give a fuck because Activision will just throw them $50 million to hire people that they can treat like shit. That's all they're gonna do.
And that's what's worrying me more and more. After we heard about Red Dead, the list of video game companies that I would like to work for now versus what I would have liked to work for like in my early 20s
Yeah.
has shrunk to basically from like any video game company I could get a hold of to like 3 companies.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah, I feel the exact same way. Every time that we, almost every week that we fucking do this show, we talk more and more about every company closing or getting fucked over or all these horrible things that are happening to them. And I go, cool, I don't want to play video games anymore. This makes me sad. Act like these things I used to look forward to, these games, these beautiful stories and imaginative worlds. I just look at it and go, people are slaving away. Literally, in a lot of cases, because they're getting paid so fucking little for doing so much work nonstop for like huge chunks of their fucking lives and getting nothing fucking out of it. And this sucks, and we shouldn't be doing it. So I don't want to play these games. Every time we talk about these games, I hear one thing about, like, it's a perfect reason to never play Red Dead. These people didn't fucking see their children grow up. I don't want to play this game. I am not going to give that company money as a justification for making other people's lives suck.
Right. And there is a difference when you talk about a culture of video game development where things like overtime is optional.
Yeah.
Whereas where in the process of working on Red Dead, it was a mandatory thing.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
And it wasn't even overtime. We were getting paid time and a half.
Yeah,
You literally just, you have to show up. You're on salary.
Yeah.
We don't care.
Yeah. And it's really sad and it's disheartening to hear that Blizzard has reached this point, because Blizzard was one of those companies that I grew up with that you always heard such positive stuff about working for them and how great it was to work for Blizzard and how it was a very laid-back culture and how everybody's working towards a common goal and you got paid well and you got great vacation time. Now we're starting to hear, now this Activision thing has happened, we're hearing like, oh yeah, like a bunch of the higher-ups from Blizzard left, and it's not the Blizzard that we grew up with.
No, it's Activision Blizzard. People keep forgetting that. Everybody's like, they're two separate companies. They're allowed to act independently. No, they're not. Yeah. Activision came over to Blizzard and said, we are basically doing a hostile takeover. You can merge with us, or we're taking over your fucking company.
Right.
And they said, all right, we'll merge with you. And that merger was Activision saying, we're in control, do what the fuck we tell you to do.
Right, and I think the worst part for me is that the people who work on video games, the artists, the coders, the developers, are all very highly skilled workers. People who know how to like manipulate pixels to create art, and then understand how the pixels work and how they got there, that's 2 specialties. If you add writing into that, and you add like art direction and sound design and just general coding to just know how to fit all those things together, that is an incredibly technical, incredibly sophisticated skill set. And to pay those people, I mean... a
garbage wage.
God, like, it pains me to say this, Jesus Christ, but welcome to America. As much as a teacher, like, holy shit. Like, obviously we should pay our teachers more. But teachers are paid so little that their salary is becoming a joke. Yeah. And that's what we're paying our game designers now. Like, what is going on in this country?
People, just like they're saying during this rant, people are paying for the privilege of working for Blizzard. To say, I worked for Blizzard.
Yeah.
I worked on Diablo.
Right.
But what does that mean if your company treats you like garbage?
Yeah, no, I don't know.
No, it's just one more industry that, again, I don't want to play these games. And I think that's the only responsible thing that we can do at this point is stop buying into their bullshit.
Yeah.
Say, and we've had enough. We don't want to... I know I'm not going to be able to fucking back me up on this. There's way too many fucking kids coming at me like, I don't care, I just want to play the fucking game.
People are going to buy Call of Duty if they're going to buy Call of Duty.
Yeah, and I get that, but like...
And the thing is, you never hear the stuff about the games that like were developed slowly and really took their time. You don't hear about this kind of shit from Naughty Dog or from Santa Monica or, or obviously CD Projekt Red. You don't hear... these stories from games that used to say the old Blizzard line of "it's done when it's done."
Right. Well, that's the problem, though, is that you only ever hear the problems, never the positive parts about it. Right. If nobody's walking over to CD Projekt Red to go like, so I know you guys took like quite a few years to make The Witcher. Like, what was that experience like? Because their response would be, it was great.
Yeah.
Took a vacation when I wanted to.
Yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
I had a fucking life. It was awesome.
My wife had a baby. I took 8 months off.
Yeah. Right. That's the thing is that
I had 2 children during this time, literally the game and a living one. Like life happened. It was awesome.
Yeah, I got married. I went on my honeymoon.
Yeah, and like this company paid for most of it.
Yeah.
So.
You know what? None of them has ever said. Well, I slept under my desk for 2 weeks.
Right, exactly. So it's really sad. This is the current state of the video game industry, and I'm sure that we will be reporting on this more as more information about Blizzard comes to light. Until then, that is everything that we have for video game news this week. We're going to take a small break, and when we come back, we'll be going into level 3 entertainment news.
I had to pee for like the last 10 minutes.
Get
All right.
Go drain it.
Like, we never got to a point where it'd be like, hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Always like, and one more thing. Don't fucking, we gotta quit appling this shit.
And one more thing all the time.
I need to go touch my one more thing.
God, I am so heartbroken to hear that a company that I loved so much just like treats their employees like that.
Dude, yeah.
It's rough. And it honestly, you know, you heard about it when you heard that people from Blizzard were leaving. But you're like, no, it can't be that way. Right? 'Cause you get people still like Jeff Kaplan who work for Blizzard, and you're like, you could tell he loves what he does.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it comes down to the fact, like we were saying earlier, Jeff Kaplan exists outside of Blizzard.
Yeah.
Jeff Kaplan runs Overwatch.
Yeah.
And Overwatch is a game and now a sport. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, he's just so incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Like,
He doesn't have time for their bullshit.
no, managing all of that. And they let him because Overwatch is a cash cow.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's literally starting a sports league. The thing that they couldn't do with StarCraft, and that's their game.
Yeah.
Someone else created the StarCraft sports league.
It's true.
And they're like, no, if we're going to have one, we're going to do it ourselves. We're going to make all the money ourselves. And they're doing it, and it's going really well.
Yeah. I mean, people are excited about the second season of the Overwatch
Dude,
League.
I am. I can't wait to start. When you said that you saw a match, I was like, did the second season start already? I need to watch that.
Yeah.
But
It was
yeah,
just the
it
World
hasn't
Cup,
started yet. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things that I'm wondering. I think the Overwatch, the phenomenon of Overwatch will exist outside of Activision's influence for quite a while, simply because of the amount of money that it makes. Like
Overwatch
basically,
League
yeah,
is what's the defining difference.
Yeah.
Because Overwatch League is bringing in a fuckload of money, Overwatch is going to be left the fuck alone.
yeah. Overwatch League is, I believe, as of the second season, which starts February 14th, was a $30 million buy-in for a team.
This is the one I want to try.
They started Overwatch League on Valentine's Day.
That's when they are starting the second season.
You know
yes.
what else happens on Valentine's Day? Battle Angel Alita
Oh, really?
hits theaters Valentine's
Dude,
Day.
I saw the trailer before.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait for that movie.
Like, I mean, entirely filmed in Austin.
Yeah, but I
This is
remember.
Robert Rodriguez.
But I
I
remember.
cannot finish this beer because I don't like the taste of it.
That's
It's
fair.
disgusting.
But
Yeah, really?
I remember seeing that trailer and going, I love this, and everyone going, that looks weird. And I was like, but come on, that's the most anime thing that's ever existed that wasn't drawn.
I mean, it's successfully so far seems to work within the uncanny valley thing, and I honestly wish they hadn't gone with the CGI face, that they had just gone with her real face. But having seen some of the people's real faces with the weird CGI bodies, you gotta go, well, that doesn't work. And
Yeah.
I've seen that in the trailer. So I'm like, maybe James Cameron was right, and let's not tell him I said that. Because he was the one that was like, no, we have to make her have she has to have like the anime face.
yeah, gotta have the anime face. It's important.
It was the eyes, because that was the biggest thing everybody had backlash for. Like, the eyes look fucking stupid. What the hell's wrong with you? Everyone else in this thing is
But you know
human
who else does
except
that?
for-
All the kids who've never seen anime before, and they look at it and they're like, why are the eyes weird in this anime drawing? And you know why? Because fuck you, that's why. This is a great story. Shut up and watch Cowboy Bebop.
Or watch a Disney movie, because that's where that animation style started. Anime eyes entirely comes from Disney.
They don't come from Disney.
Yes,
They
it
come
does.
from Don Bluth. Far, far earlier than Disney.
Oh,
Unless you're talking about anthropomorphic animals specifically.
No, the stylization of that large-eyed human characters. Maybe it was Don Bluth, but it came out way before. It was a Western thing before it became an Eastern thing.
It's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's specifically a lot of animators. So the one that started with the Japanese anime style was the Rocket Boy. Or,
Adam Boy. Rocket Boy. The Adam kid.
what, you know which one I'm talking about.
I
He
do.
flies. He has a fucking
Astro Boy.
Astro Boy. Astro Boy was the first anime.
Yeah.
and because it started as a manga, but that entire thing started as the creator said, "No, I watched Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. I just drew like that." He's like, "No, it's literally that entire thing of Adam Kid, the flying whatever, Astro Boy, yes, is entirely based off of the Disney animation style."
Yeah, I think I remember the Seven Dwarves having weird features. I mean, obviously Snow White didn't. She was drawn
Well, the
like a
dwarves had
human.
giant eyes and
long noses. And...
yeah, big round noses, and each one had their own unique nose style. And even the squirrels and everything had larger eyes like that. They weren't drawn
right,
as
because
human.
Mickey Mouse, I mean, long before Snow White, there's this like, weird mouse-looking face with giant eyes and hands like a human. And he's wearing gloves for some reason. Gloves and no
gloves
pants.
gloves and pants, no shirt.
No shirt. What did he have pants in Steamboat
Donald,
Willie?
yeah, he has pants. Donald Duck is the one that wears.
Donald
a shirt.
doesn't wear pants.
Yeah, Donald. That's why
right.
he was banned in Norway for many years because he didn't wear pants.
It's a duck.
But he didn't wear pants. He wore a shirt.
Yeah, hey, you know what? Goofy wears a vest and a hat, and Pluto wears a collar.
Yeah, that doesn't. Why does the dog have a dog?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Disney rules.
It's the hierarchy of animals.
Like, it just seems so weird.
Oh no! I mean, look at magicians. You have bears and you have talking bears. And
Right. The talking bears.
Yeah, because
that was
and in the
great.
TV. All right, so in the books, no one's fucking the talking bears.
Aw.
But apparently in the show, everyone's fucking the talking bears.
Well, they're bears. I mean, they get down, man.
They have. I mean, I'm for kinky shit, but giant fucking razor claws. Let's not fuck bears.
Not without their consent.
They're talking bears, so they can.
They can and apparently are very willing to consent.
Apparently,
Yeah.
no, that was they had a lot of many parts of many episodes of The Magicians have been about fucking the talking animals.
Yeah, mainstream, man. It's
well, because especially because you live in Filroy, and these people have been there hundreds
Did you say
of thousands.
Filroy?
Yeah, Phil or Fillory.
Yeah.
I said Filroy.
Yeah.
I'm Filroy.
I was like, Fillory? What the fuck is that? Oh, Fillory. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I can't wait for the next season of that. Again, you need to read those books.
I should. Leif Grossman, I've heard good things. I have a couple credits on Audible, and I just finished the book I was reading literally on the way here. So
Yeah, you got stuck in traffic. We were late. We were late starting. So this is called Swifty. I'm calling it.
it's called Swifty.
It's Swift. It's Swifty.
Yeah, you just draw it. Look, they left enough room. You can just pencil a little H in there.
Yeah.
And then it's Swifty. So did you finish the last season of Magicians?
Yeah.
Man.
I've also read the 3 books.
Yeah,
so
but I don't know how closely they hold to the books.
they separated a long time ago.
I was going to assume
Actually, they
so.
separated the very first episode because the characters have been merged together and stuff. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's not the same.
That makes sense. They did that for True Blood too, but the Sookie Stackhouse books were
Okay,
probably not for me.
I like the Sookie Stackhouse books. But
I feel like they were
are
like
massively different than the series.
like almost like it wasn't young adult fiction, but it was a little too cute for adult fiction.
it's a romance novel.
Yeah,
That's exactly what it was. It was just a romance novel.
right.
And I wish I'd finished it.
But the cover
4
art
books I
was
never
so
finished.
cute. Like the vampire on the cover with Sookie literally looked like fucking like the Count from Sesame Street.
Okay, we're not commenting on the silliness that was the Sookie Stackhouse
Yeah.
covers because those weren't very good. Oh, my fly's undone. I should zip that.
Oh yeah, zip that up.
they can't see it.
Yeah.
but I can. I'm used to a button fly, so like.
Yeah,
It's gonna
zippers.
take me a while to remember I have a zipper.
Well, zippers can get away from you. Well, I guess while we're waiting for him to finish his
I
cigarette,
used to have
I'm
a
gonna go
bunch of
pee.
fucking pairs of pants that every time I sat down, like if we moved around, the zipper would always go down.
Oh, yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, no, it's really irritating that like no matter what you're doing, you're constantly fucking.
Yeah, or you're
re-zipping.
just checking it at
Yeah.
all times, and it's kind of hard to just be like,
Yeah,
like
no,
when
it's,
you're around people.
you know, it's what I hated about those pants is they fucking constantly just the zipper just like no more, just not gonna, just doesn't hold up. I got nothing, guys. I got nothing. I can't. I'm not playing a game to entertain you with. It's just alcoholism. So you're just gonna watch me drink until they get back here now. Let's read the back. Working in the hill country from a foundation of time-honored brewing tradition, Real Ale believes minimal processing produces maximum flavor. And specifically about this beer, because I guess that's just their generic thing about the beer, is bold flavor, remarkable balance, and thirst-quenching crushability. There's always time for a Swiftie. That's the tagline for this beer, apparently. And I fucking hate this crushability thing that fucking beer companies have been putting on their drinks. They're like, it's crushable. The fuck is that? It's not. You don't crush a beer. I'm not bro, dude. You drink a beer. You don't fucking crush it. The fuck is wrong with you?
What are you talking about?
This beer is incredibly crushable.
It's crushable. You can crush a few brewskis, bro.
Get the fuck out of my house.
You're done with beers, bro. That's it. That's all.
You're kicked off the show. Get the
you haven't watched enough Letterkenny.
Yeah, no, get the fuck off my show. I've watched zero Letterkenny.
We got pregame nappies. We got pregame sandos. I'll crush a sando, bro.
If this is in that show, I can't watch the show at all. I can't.
Okay, so the thing about hockey hooligans is they're the butt of literally every joke, and they're fucking hilarious.
Because I like Trailer Park Boys, but it took a while before I could really get into Trailer Park Boys.
So this is honestly way better than Trailer Park Boys in terms of just laughs per minute. And
Bubbles is kind of the best thing in the fucking
but you've never met Shorzy. Fucking
so you tried to tell me about Shorzy, and it's like, yeah, but there's Bubbles, and Bubbles is the best thing ever created. I mean, he had the line, "That's a nice fucking kitty right there." And he said Sam Squanch. And I love that he's terrified of the Sam Squanch. Everything that he gets wrong is just the best.
Oh, man.
It's probably still like stuck on the wall at Elysium. There's a sticker of it's a Bubbles face. It just says it's a nice fucking kitty right there.
It's a nice fucking kitty right there.
Like nobody made that. Like no, like that was
surprise me, James. While you're up,
to, put 2 fingers in his butt.
It's gonna be kind of hard while he's standing.
And you're sitting.
Yeah.
And he's over there.
Yeah.
He's sneaky though.
Oh yeah. He's got that Bloodborne.
You might get Archer to do
Bloodborne
it.
hoodie.
Archer's a cat. Nobody's
Archer
watching. No, everybody left. It's just us now. I don't know why.
Archer's just trying to decide whether or not he wants to be on the carpet or not. Willow's already just chill as fuck. She's been in there since I got here. All right. She's like, it's not wet in here. I don't know what everyone else's problem is.
Oh, it's after 9. Feed the dog. Should have done that while we're on break.
Do it.
Yeah, she can wait.
You want? All right,
She'll probably be all right.
Yeah.
She's chilling on the couch right now, so.
Okay. That and she's on slow feeder now. So.
And she doesn't know what time it is.
You say that, but she does.
She knows when it's 9 o'clock.
She knows when you know what time it is.
No. She will... Alright, so like right now she's probably just on the couch chilling. She has a very stressful day, so she's probably not too interested in what time it is today.
Mm-hmm.
But no, 9 o'clock comes. She will come in there, she's like, hey. Just there and stare at me. She's like... We're actually about like 8:50.
What are you forgetting?
She tries to tell me like it's 9 o'clock, like way early. She's like, hey. Guess what time it is? It's like, it's 8:30. She's like, yeah, it's 9 o'clock. And like, no, it's 8:30. Yeah, but it's 9 o'clock. Maybe you feed me now.
I saw a great sign the other day. It was just sitting right next to a cat. It's like, the cat has been fed. Don't believe his bullshit.
Yeah.
No, you have to have, we have a sign for that for Jenny. Like, it fell down, but it's the, Jenny has been fed. Because she will sit next to, like, James messaged me, like, last week. Is like, did you feed Jenny before you left? I was like, yeah. I was like, well, she's just sitting next to her bowl, like, whining. Like, yeah, because she thinks that she doesn't know that you know that she's been fed.
She's trying to trick you. The corgis are smart.
She's like, hey, I haven't been fed. Daddy wasn't here. You got to feed me now.
Okay, real quick. real quick before we start. You guys have to see this. Oh, my God. So, my buddy Ross works at a place that's dog-friendly, and people bring in their puppies. And there is there's a brand new corgi puppy that just got there. Yeah, and it is just ridiculous.
Oh my god, it's so adorable.
It's too much. And then like later in the day he sent me of it sleeping and I died.
Oh, it tatered.
it's impossible how cute this dog is.
It's too much.
Yeah, no, like it hurts my face to look at him because like I smile too hard.
Kittens in general are just the best. I like kittens because they're dumb and they do dumb kitten stuff, like fall off everything.
Yeah.
That's also why I hate them, because they get on things they shouldn't.
And they just fall right the fuck off. And then you're like, are you okay? And they're like, whatever, I didn't feel that.
With dogs are preferable, but honestly, I think I decided no more pets ever again.
I think
No more
I think
pets.
the balance is 1 or 2 of each.
I'm gonna go with none. I think none's gonna be the correct option for forever now. Get rid of all of them.
All right.
If you want some cats, we
No.
can send you some cats. Is what I'm
we're
saying.
not, we're not sending away any cats.
I will box them up. Just send me your address. You don't even pay for shipping. I will.
So if you'd like to receive Tony in a box,
I'll
James has opinions on this.
and you can let me know if you want 1 cat or 2 cats or like half a cat. Like
And most likely he will think that he's doing this, and what the person will get was a chopped up body parts of Tony in a box.
It's just a torso and an arm. The torso of Tony. He tried to take the cats.
All right.
secretly, then you lift up the torso. There's a cat underneath it. You got to keep them fed while you get them there.
True that.
Can't just let them shit in a box, man. Oh, and you click entertainment to move this shit. There we go. Level 3, entertainment news.
Hey, Adventures, welcome back to the show. So one of the shows that we've been watching over the last couple of years that we've been super excited about is, of course, Castlevania.
Hell yeah.
It's been an excellent ride so far.
I have enjoyed the animated Castlevania tale.
Yeah, and I've definitely rewatched both seasons a couple of times.
Hey, can I pick a bone with both of y'all real quick?
Sure.
Okay, so when we talked about the first season, you guys both said you didn't care for the animation. Did that change during season 2?
I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like the animation in Castlevania isn't as... It's not as strong as
It's
it should
incredibly
be.
static. Like,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, like, still, but a lot of scenes are really just pans over a single image with, like, voiceover work. So
Yeah,
I think I
and
know what
that's-
you're talking
all right,
about.
so yeah, I get that, and that's something that still irritates me. But honestly, if you watch any of the Netflix created anime,
Yeah.
or really any anime from any lower budget studio, that's exactly what you're getting.
Right, I
Especially
mean-
because a lot of the ones that do lower budget now start doing CGI stuff so they can have more dynamic things.
True.
But these aren't using CGI.
Yeah,
They're
So
still hand animating
If
this
you
shit.
read the interviews with Adi Shankar, he talks about the specific style that he's trying to emulate with the Castlevania series,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a very specific animation style that was kind of early '90s OVAs.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
Which is
so-
exactly why it would feel like
Yeah, because
static
it really
shots.
does feel like that.
Yeah,
that's
and
a good
so
point.
a lot of those OVAs, they were higher quality than just like your average anime you were watching on TV,
Mm-hmm.
but it also had a lot of that more staticky, still shot kind of thing that Castlevania does. Unfortunately, with as much action that's been in Castlevania, I feel like it's almost to the detriment of it.
Yeah.
So, that being said,
You just you put some swipey lines next to a person standing still and just go swee, and it sounds like things happened.
Yikes.
Adi Shankar was over at IGN this last week and announced that he has obtained the rights to the Devil May Cry franchise. That alone got people pretty excited. They were like, "Fuck yes, the dude who did Castlevania is going to do fucking Devil May Cry. This is exciting." Like,
Dude,
I'm-
okay, so like Capcom's over here like, look what he did for Konami. And
Yeah.
they're a bunch of punk bitches. Let's give him something that he can like sink his teeth into.
Yeah. I mean, Devil May Cry, for most intents and purposes, has a little bit more lore to it.
Oh yeah.
Castlevania got lore eventually,
Right.
But starting out,
But it started with dude in castle
Yeah.
hits Dracula with whip.
Yeah, there you go. So the bigger part of this that has everybody kind of wondering what the fuck is going on is he said that this Devil May Cry acquisition is going to be part of what he is calling a bootleg multiverse.
I can't wait to hear what he describes this as.
By the way, if you've never seen Adi Shankar before, he's a pretty eccentric dude.
Okay.
Like, he, wears makeup, not like, an actor wears makeup
Based
to
on
a
his
thing.
name, I'm assuming
Like,
he's Indian.
I'm not sure his actual background.
Okay.
But when he did his interview for IGN, he was basically wearing kiss makeup on
Nice.
his face, and that's not a weird one-off thing.
Right.
That's how he goes out.
Okay, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, he
He-
paints his faces where
he has a public persona.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he said, we got Devil May Cry. I wanted to make sure, he said, I wanted to make sure the jabronis in Hollywood don't fuck this one up too. So
Wow.
that's why he got it. But then he said, I'm just going to leave this where it is, then I'm going to walk off the set and answer no more questions. But the acquisition of Devil May Cry will be the next part of what I am calling a bootleg multiverse.
Awesome.
The question that everybody has at this point is, does this mean we are, obviously, A, we are getting a Devil May Cry series, but does this mean, B, that we can see some of these games cross over at some point with maybe just a one-shot movie or something?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, that would be the fucking, like, I don't know, Lego movie? Like, what am I talking about? What, like, the Smash Brothers? The crossover? How are you going to mix, like, a Konami game and a Capcom game? But I guess if everyone gives permission, then it's fine, right?
I mean,
all right. So one of the things that you said at the beginning is like that there wasn't a lot of lore to Castlevania
start.
at the start, and it's still honestly pretty light on lore anyway.
you don't know.
compared to fucking Devil May Cry, like,
Okay,
it's still
Yeah.
but
Devil May Cry came with lore. It started.
yeah,
as
that's
lore.
the thing that
Yeah.
I actually appreciate more about the Castlevania the animated series is because it doesn't have a super huge amount of lore like holding it down,
Right.
that it can go more interesting places, it can tell some more interesting stories,
Right.
whereas if you're doing Devil May Cry, I'm like, cool, so you're just gonna retell the story we already had, or like is this gonna be like a prequel thing? Because like I don't want them to just make the fucking video game.
I mean, there was a Devil May Cry anime, and it was not good.
I heard it was very bad.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
never watched it.
most video game animes are pretty bad.
Horrible.
Yeah, no, and I
usually,
love the
yeah.
Castlevania one. I think it's very good, and I fully expect this Devil May Cry one to be better. But I don't want them to just retell me what's already been told.
Right. And there's like a certain spirit you want to keep. Like if the story's about Dante, then it's he's got to be.
I want to provide.
Like,
I want to
hilarious.
provide a different perspective on this. I think the strongest way to go into a Devil May Cry animated feature set is twofold.
Okay.
So part one is you're eventually at some point during season one going to get to one of the major stories that happen. Maybe we're saying Devil May Cry 1. Let's put that as the place that it happens.
Right.
But we know for a fact that Dante is a monster hunter by trade.
Right.
That is something that's always shown, that he's got his own business. That's what the Devil May Cry is like his business aspect of it. And that lends itself to a fun monster of the week kind of, what you can do that will eventually get to the stories that we know in Devil May Cry.
Right. I mean, there's.
Yeah, if they would have Witcher won this or Supernatural it, yeah, cool. That'd be. I'd like that probably more than them just retelling of the already existing stories.
Well, I mean, if it were me, I don't know. I'd start with like the Ghost of Sparta, and like it's so hard to start with Dante's origin because like you meet his girlfriend mom later and there's this whole thing, but she's a clone of his mom, but she's super hot and they're all the same like
There's a lot of weird
I don't
stuff
know,
with Devil May Cry.
it's Devil May Cry. It's super weird lore wise, but it's so much fun. And
10 years ago I could have been like, that's just such a Japanese thing to do. But
Yeah.
after like watching the shit that's been coming out of America recently, I'm like, no, we're fucked too.
yeah,
That's
no, I mean, if okay, so
humanity is
if
pretty
no one
fucked
in
up.
season 1 says flock off Featherface, I will consider the entire series a failure.
So this is your wall chicken. This is the hill you're going to die
literally
on.
wall chicken.
It's the hill you will die on.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it because I believe that if he does treat Devil May Cry with the same respect and reverence that he did Castlevania, it's going to be a fun ride. It'll be interesting to see who they cast for the voice actor of Dante because like the original voice actor was pretty good actually.
Yeah, no, they could do a lot with him. I mean, he's still doing it now.
Yeah.
There's a Devil May Cry game coming out this year with his voice.
That is true. Yeah, absolutely. Devil May Cry is also one of those fascinating franchises, and not to get into video game news too much, but the character of Dante does get older. Like, he does age as the series progresses.
so much older than he was in the first games.
Yeah.
And they had, like, super young Dante in the third one, which was a prequel, but they've kept his age very consistent.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for whatever the bootleg multiverse is. We'll know more about that as it's being announced. I'm pretty sure if he's trying to do crossovers, there's a lot of business deals that have to
Everybody
happen.
needs to remember this is also animation from a relatively small company. It's gonna take a while before we see anything out of this or another announcement.
Yeah, if they're gonna,
It took them a year to make 10 episodes of Castlevania. So.
yeah, if he's working towards his eventual Avengers, we got a while to wait.
Yeah, like 20 years. Like,
Yeah.
sorry guys, this is not an overnight.
Okay,
kind of
hey,
thing.
if I get anime Avengers based on Capcom and Konami characters ever, my childhood became life.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we were
Maybe it's a fighting anime where it's Capcom versus Konami.
I would watch the shit out of that.
So a while back, and probably almost a year or so ago, we mentioned that they were working on a Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark documentary. It was a it was a crowdsourced thing. They were going through like either Indiegogo or something along those lines to get it funded. They got the funding for it. And they have been working and filming and trying to do everything they can to delve into the history of the 1980s book series, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Of course, we do know that Guillermo del Toro is working on a movie as well. We know from the information that is leaked from the people working on the project, we've got more than 40 interviews that are going to be in the documentary that are going to be from both fans and artists, people who knew the Schwartz, people within the Schwartz family members. So that's the artist behind the original Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. They're also going to have interviews with authors like R.L. Stein that are going to be in there.
Okay.
But the cool part about it that we found out this week is that a studio called Wild Eye actually picked this documentary up and is going to be releasing it in theaters.
Awesome.
That's good news.
Like the documentary itself.
Yeah, the documentary itself is going to be getting
usually
some
a
kind of
move like this indicates one thing specifically, because you don't have to release things in theaters anymore. Netflix has proven that.
Right.
The reason to have it released in theaters is so that it can win awards.
Really?
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's the reason
That is
why
the
a lot of
reason
Netflix
Netflix has
movies
started putting
them in theaters.
Yeah, they do very limited
Amazon's
runs
doing
in a
the same
few
thing.
theaters around the
Literally
country.
the minimum number of theaters in certain cases, especially for documentaries, and that's what documentaries do anyway. They
win awards.
They win awards, but they also don't go to a lot of movie theaters.
Right.
And both of these things are set to be released in 2019, by the way. Both the Guillermo del Toro movie and this documentary are supposed to be releasing in that same year.
That's going to be a lot of
I'm
fun.
looking forward to an Alamo Drafthouse double feature.
Hell
'cause
yeah.
They haven't done one of those in a while.
Yeah.
Why
I'm
the fuck
super
not
excited.
on this one?
Yeah.
Right? I'm super excited about it. So, obviously, I love anything and everything related to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. All right, you guys ready for Thunderdome?
Thunderdome.
Gents, our final topic for entertainment news this week. Get your sassy hats on. I'd like to preface this by saying let's not bring up the Ghostbusters remake. Dan,
Whenever you
Okay.
premise anything with that, I get sad.
that's fine. We're not going to talk about it because that's not a part of what we should be discussing
What you're
here.
saying
Okay.
is we are culturally trying to forget
forgetting
that
it
happened.
No,
happened.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it has no relevance here, but I know Tony will find some way to fucking stick a dick into the conversation with it. Dan Aykroyd this last week said that things are really coming along in terms of Ghostbusters 3. Like, the script is pretty much done. He believes that Bill Murray is going to probably sign on to it. The script is really good. Now, Bill Murray has not said that he is.
He's had 30 years to get the script ready.
Right.
What else has he been doing?
Who? Dan Aykroyd?
Yes.
Living his life? I don't know. Not being in
You know what he's been doing for the last 30 years? Saying how much Ghostbusters 3 is happening.
Right.
That's all he's been doing. Never actually working on it.
Okay,
But basically, he's like, everything's pretty much done. We're just trying to get the wheels in motion at this point. We just got to get a few of the actors to sign on and say that they're going to do it.
everything's
And then
not
there
pretty
you go.
much done. Do you know why two fucking important ass names, Harold fucking Remus?
Yeah.
It's not pretty much done because Harold Remus is dead and he can't be in the movie.
Yeah, Egon is no longer with us. He fucking finally drilled the hole in his head, I guess.
Yeah.
Trip Hanning was.
So
Yeah, Trip Hanning.
there's a lot of people out there in the internet world that were like, hey, it's great to hear that we're getting some momentum on this. Like, it's great that we're going to get Ghostbusters 3. When I was asked what I thought about this, I said very honestly, I don't think it should ever happen.
I agree.
Yeah, the video game was 3.
I love the original Ghostbusters. 2 was a thing that happened that I sometimes enjoy.
I don't mind too.
It's not
fine.
It's not horrible, but it's not.
There have been a
it's
lot
not-
worse sequels, okay?
Sure.
It's not the remake.
Damn it! I said we're not putting that in the conversation.
It's not The Exorcist Part 2.
I would actually maybe argue that it is better than Ghostbusters 2. The remake is. With all that out of the way, though, I know that Dan Aykroyd's been talking this up for years and years and years, and unfortunately, I think there are enough people out there in the world that are like pro this, that he's getting positive feedback on all these ideas. Whereas I do believe a lot of the hardcore fan base for Ghostbusters is going like, we shouldn't. We should stop. We should let this remain. It's the perfect gem that it is.
This is like Robert Zemeckis being like, by the way, guys, there's going to be a Back to the Future 4. And we're like, cool, but don't, because it was fine.
You know what would make this news okay? If literally anybody else was talking about this except for Dan Aykroyd.
Because he's been talking about it for 30 years.
That's not even it. It's, if someone said, hey, we're getting Ghostbusters 3, we'd all be like, fuck, not again, by Guillermo del Toro. Holy shit, pump that into my veins.
Right.
But we're not, nobody's making this announcement. It's just Dan Aykroyd saying it again. So how can we be excited about it?
Oh, I forgot. He made a vodka company at some point.
Yeah.
Or at least he's spokesman for one.
Yeah, no, and that happens in Hollywood. You end up with a brand of, like, a Ron Jeremy has a brand of rum. It's
Rum Jeremy?
Yes. I'm not even kidding.
Wow. Yeah, it's just one of those things that the more...
I don't want a rum named Jeremy.
The more and more I think about it, almost like the angrier I was getting.
Yeah.
I was just like, stop. Like, I don't want to get to a point where Ghostbusters
I'm an abused girlfriend, okay? Don't fucking do this to me anymore. I'm fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
No,
I'm leaving you. Me and the dead horse you've been beating with the same subject are leaving you.
When someone wants to put a new twist on it, when Rob Zombie or Neil Blomkamp come forward and say, like, hey, I'm making Ghostbusters 3.
Neil Blomkamp's Ghostbuster would be fucking amazing.
Right. We'll all go, I am intrigued, show me a trailer. But when Dan Aykroyd says we're going to make part 3 with all the same actors and we're going to have
Harold Ramis is dead.
We're going to have sad Bill Murray and Harold Ramis is dead, but here comes
like
Ghostbusters 3. I mean, I'm just sad.
I almost feel like if this news had come from Bill Murray, I would have been more excited.
Maybe.
If he had come out and been like, yeah, I actually read the script, I'm on board, let's do it.
No, instead he's going to do another Garfield movie. No joke.
First
we're
off,
getting another one of those.
He does whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh, yeah.
I get that.
I mean, he's Bill fucking Murray.
He's Bill Murray. He's like, this is a paycheck movie. For some reason, they're going to pay me a bunch of money to do this.
Yeah.
I have to do 1 hour of work for 10 days.
So he can go golf.
Yeah. And I get it. That's the thing that he loves.
Yeah.
I'm just no longer a really big Bill Murray fan. I used to be when I was a kid.
I love Bill Murray.
I don't have a reason to anymore.
I love Bill Murray in movies that he wants to act in.
Yeah. Anything he does, like Wes Anderson, I love.
No, all right. So he did do the dialogue for the Ghostbusters, the video game.
Yeah.
The one that is the third movie because it finishes the fucking story out.
Yeah, and it's great. It's a great video game.
Everybody came back for it, and it was great. And you could hear in Bill Murray's voice, he did not want to play that character anymore.
He was pretty much done.
The dialogue all sounded weird and wrong, and he's like, "That's not what. Okay, I guess that's what you're doing, but." Stop. Everybody else sounded exactly the way they're supposed to.
Right.
And then fucking Bankman talks and you're like, ew, creepy. Don't fucking talk, dude.
And I mean,
I think that's his state for it. He's like, no, I'm going to make this character fucking unbearable because I don't fucking want to do this anymore.
Right. And let's not forget that a lot of these actors are in their late 60s now.
Yeah.
How you going to, like, if the
Let's
movie
get an action movie with ghosts and CGI
if the movie
and
is
shit.
about them running around in proton packs, I mean...
Proton packs with wheelchairs because they weigh like 80 pounds.
I was gonna say,
fucking
like,
lift that shit.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't. Maybe they're gonna train the new generation. They're gonna Mr. Miyagi some young Ghostbusters.
Why didn't we get an Extreme Ghostbusters like 10 years ago?
What if we get like a really great cast for the young Ghostbusters? Right? Like, you know what? That might make it cool.
That's what I'm saying. Extreme Ghostbusters. You remember the cartoons? We had the real Ghostbusters and the actor of the Extreme Ghostbusters, which they trained the next generation of kids. One of which was in a wheelchair,
and that was during the Extreme phase.
And he was a ginger.
Extreme Looney Tunes and Extreme. The Ninja Turtles even decided to like mutate
we had
again.
Extreme Tiny Toons, I think, at one point, and you're just like, why are they Tiny Toons?
There was this whole meme
extreme?
about Extreme Bugs Bunny that I'll never stop laughing at. I might have to show it to you guys after the show.
All right, that's everything that we have for entertainment news this week. We're going to take a small break. When we come back, we'll be going into our final segment, the epilogue.
Do you guys know what I'm talking about with the Extreme Bugs Bunny? No. Okay, so there was this, like, it was supposed to be like a superhero show, but it was all just the Looney Tunes. But they all got like dark.
That's where they redid the Duck Dodger from the 21st century,
right? And Bugs Bunny,
the only thing that succeeded from
was in like a black outfit. It would look like a fucking ninja. He was supposed
to be like Batman / ninja.
This sounds so quintessentially.
And there
90s.
was this old Newgrounds video where they took him and someone dubbed over his voice yelling at a bunch of school children about how he was extreme and telling them how he was gonna fuck their sister up the ass while skiing down a hill, like killing ninjas. Like it's like the funniest fucking thing you've ever seen, and I still laugh about it every
You'll
day
have to
because
send that to me at work.
it was the perfect play on the like extreme culture when like our Doritos were extreme,
Yeah.
like
Everything.
like,
Dude,
early
the 90s were a very extreme time.
Where-
The
All right.
2000s happened.
Let's do this thing. Let's do this.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
I'll leave this world behind.
Oh, I need to click some shit. No, literally, we're not even watching this anymore. Zero out of 0.
That's fine.
We're fine. I'm just leaving that there. I'm not moving it again. Epilogue.
Hey, adventurers, welcome back to the show. All right, so we're in the epilogue. It's our main talking point for the podcast. Sometimes it's related to the news, sometimes it's not. So in the news this week, we found out a couple of really interesting bits of information about the upcoming year. The first one is that for the first time in like 20 some odd years, Sony will not be attending E3. They will not be putting on a big press conference like they always do. None of this whole giant reveal.
Honestly, I thought that they were just not going to E3, but they were going to do the same thing Microsoft and Nintendo do, which is we're going to be in the building next door and do our own thing whenever the fuck we
That is not
want.
what they're doing.
They're
specifically not doing that.
They are not going
so they're
to
not doing.
E3.
They're not showing. Like
Right.
they're not even.
They're
gonna
having
have, like,
no
a,
main stage. Some of the games that will be
I was
releasing
gonna ask,
on
are they going to have
PlayStation-
like a game testing area
Okay,
thing?
so like Sony Studio, the studio making like Death Stranding, and the studio that's about to bring us The Last of Us, and the studio that is doing that Asian game that isn't the Bloodborne game. They'll all be
It's from
there.
software.
Yeah, no, not From Software. The other one, the one that we saw
the one that
on
looks,
their stage
the
last
one that
year.
looks like it's made by From Software,
Right.
Because From Software is doing the Xbox game,
Right. They'll all be on stage showing off their stuff. But not on stage. They'll be on the floor showing off their stuff. But there will be no Sony E3 press conference.
Right.
Okay, so the press conference that for the last couple of years has been barely fucking watchable on Sony's side because it's been god awfully made. Like, I'm sorry, like
You say that, but they're the best ones of the year.
no,
every
they
year.
have some really cool trailers in it, but the rest of it, the artistry,
Let's talk about last year's E3 and about how we started in a church for The Last of Us, and that the actual press conference took a 10-minute hiatus.
Yeah.
so
we
they
literally
could
had
move.
an intermission after a song.
Yeah.
A dude played a song.
A
we
dude
went,
played a song, and we
cool.
watched a trailer, and then it was like 10 to like about 15 minutes of us waiting while people awkwardly said, "We're starting back up in a second."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
was the worst planned and executed conference in the history of conferences.
And they knew they had nothing to talk about, so they were like, "Let's
you go
really
see-
ham up the games,"
If you
and
go
they
to,
hammed
like,
it too
a
hard.
grade school, and you're
Too
seeing
much
kids doing their fucking like plays, like their little one-act things and their songs. Well, more organized, put together, logical process, in and out. Fucking things are happening. You are getting a song and a stage performance and a spelling bee and a song. It's right back to back. You're getting your fucking shit together.
All right, we gotta take him to more kids things because they do not go that well.
I'm sorry. What I'm saying is that you can have an entire school of grade children and the one director, which is the like the social studies teacher who wanted to go to art school but didn't, so they like whatevered, put on a better performance than Sony has fucking pretty much ever done. All right, Sony doesn't know what the fuck they're doing, and honestly, for my brain, I am really happy they're not doing that.
It's good.
'Cause I could not take another
it's a
fucking
good
year.
time
of this.
to note that Tony is the Microsoft fanboy.
I was gonna say, so-
Oh
Let's-
no!
let's-
My Sony has great trailers and has been winning. I don't give a fuck about that. I care about the artistry of creating a performance, and they've done a very bad job at that. Microsoft has shown up with basically nothing and said, "Look at this, we've got nothing." I get that. It's an hour and a half of me going, "Cool, let's all sit with our thumbs up our asses," but at least we have our thumbs on our asses.
Okay.
Right. So let's. That being said, and you're not wrong. Let's remember that E3 press conferences, in and of themselves, if you took away the
Giant
trailers,
circle jerk.
if you took away the trailers, would be a fucking tragedy. You would basically watch nerds on stage go, "Why am I on stage? No, what am I doing here? I literally type on my keyboard for a living. Get me off the stage. I literally
don't do
just
public
pissed myself."
speaking.
Okay, so we know that Sony's pulling out of E3.
They are indeed.
This year. We know that Nintendo is going to be doing at least a Nintendo Direct, like they have been in the past.
One of those live directs that they do with the cool little skits.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
And Microsoft has just tweeted recently, like, "Hey, we'll see you guys at E3, 2019."
Specifically, immediately after Sony said they weren't going to be there, Microsoft chimed in and said, "We will fucking be there."
And actually said, we have a lot to show you.
Yep.
And based on last year and everything they've said since then, you're like, yeah, you probably do actually have a lot to show us.
You fucking better have a lot to show us.
And we will get to that here in a second. One other news item from the week that we just want to keep in the back of our heads right now is that there's a rumor circulating, and we don't want to comment too much on this, that Microsoft is going to be releasing a new Xbox model that's going to be coming out in 2019 that will not have a disk drive, and that they're also considering a program that will be offering a disc-to-digital swap out where you can bring in your games and get digital codes.
Oh my god, dude! I've been wanting that for years.
It's a rumor. We can't say that it's confirmed or not.
Dude, like, if that's a thing that could possibly happen, fuck. I wish GameStop would have been like, yeah, just give us your used copy. We'll give you a digital code, because we can make endlessly those. They cost us nothing, except for the little bit of license they have to pay.
Right.
Like, why couldn't I have done this years ago? I fucking hate having physical copies of things now.
But don't get too excited because we don't know that that's confirmed. But I do want to think about those things. Those are things that have been talked about in the news. Now let's
that just follows Microsoft's plan all along, which was to get rid of discs, go to a digital future. That entirely makes sense.
Okay, so the epilogue this week is called "It's Good When Sony Pulls Out." So let's start.
They're pushing rope at this point.
They just don't want to get her pregnant.
Right. Let's start with the facts. All right. So we know that Sony's pulling out of E3. Right. So let's talk about, before we get into any of this mess, where the state of the industry is. Where are we in terms of the current console cycle?
The absolute end.
We were at the end of it.
We were at the end of the console life cycle when the last E3 ended. This year is literally, we were all pretty sure that this E3 was when they're like, here are the last few games coming out. Also, here's the next console. Pull out your dicks.
Right.
I figured that, like, I didn't believe it was going to be last year. I thought it was going to be maybe 19, and I'm definitely certain that they're coming out.
I was
in
pretty
20.
sure it was this year. Not this year, 2018. This next coming E3, March to May 2019, depending on when they decide to do it.
Let's just call it E3 19.
E3 19 was definitely when we were going to see the new consoles. I had no doubt in my mind.
I'm still siding on the E3 20. Is when we're going to show them, and they're going to be released.
I feel like
in
20 is the release.
I feel like they're going to show them. I feel like they're going to just try to keep this generation as live as long as possible. So don't get us hyped for something new. Keep the sales going from the current one, and then at 20, be like, by the way, save right now because in 6 months it's coming out.
Right. So
that's what I'm expecting.
We know that Sony's not going to be at E3, but Microsoft is.
Correct.
So
Microsoft has ground to catch up. They have to be there. They can't. Well, they're at E3 as much as Nintendo is.
Right.
They have a thing on the floor where people can play the games, but in reality, they're next door at
all
their
of
own
the
fucking...
Xbox games that they can play on the floor.
Okay, so let's.
all right, so
hold on, we'll get to Microsoft in a second.
Years ago.
I want to get to Microsoft in a second, but let's kind of kick this whole thing off with a discussion of, with the announcement of Sony pulling out of E3. Why is this good and or bad that they are doing this? They are removing themselves from the E3 equation.
It's good for E3, actually, because E3 got super bloated a long time ago, and they went down to where they said, fuck it, we have to go back to our roots. We have to go back to just this is an industry-only... like,
supposed to be for press.
Yeah, it's a press thing. And they went back to that. And then slowly they've been getting rid of that every single year, and it's gotten back. It went back to being way bloated. That's whenever Nintendo said, "Well, we're kind of done." Microsoft said, "Well, we're done," because it turned the giant bloated mess again. Sony leaving now is a note to E3.
You know what? I need to fight with you about something on this one, because you have this hard on for saying, "Oh, Microsoft pull out of E3." Don't fucking dilute yourself and say they pulled out of E3. They moved across the fucking street into a stadium during E3.
Dude, you cannot get fucking angry about this because
you're arguing semantics. They're not at E3. Oh, I'm sorry, they're not in the physical building of E3.
You are getting angry about this when Nintendo said we're pulling out of E3, put a fucking van in front of it and said we're not at E3. We're literally the van in front of it.
They're at E3. They are at E3.
Nintendo announces, puts out these announcements.
And that was when they pulled out. That was when the year Nintendo said, we're not going to be at E3. We're not doing a single thing for E3. Except for literally, they rented a fucking Winnebago
no,
and
they're
sat out in
E3.
front of it and said,
No.
"Nintendo not at E3. We're not here at all. We're not sitting right in front of it. Don't come near us."
So Nintendo every quarter does this big Nintendo Live thing where they're like, here's what Nintendo is doing in this part of the year. And every year for E3, they release theirs. The thing that they do 3 other times during the year, but it's a very special one because it's for E3 and it has a little more production value and so forth. And so it's not like 45 minutes of Smash Brothers like
Right.
what they normally
No,
are.
it's the same thing everybody else kind of treats. E3 is the big
Right.
spectacle, but then you have the Games Developers Conference, which is like not near the spectacle. Then you got the one in Germany, and
Right.
that's like way less,
Yeah.
and
And
so
I think
they all go
Sony,
downhill.
and Sony has always been ready for the hype train and ready to like choo along with it. 2 years ago, we watched the Sony press conference from a fucking movie theater because they set that up for all of us. That's how hype they wanted.
well, they did it
everybody to
again
be.
this year, or 18.
Did they do it for 18?
They did it for 18. We just didn't go.
All right, that's fine. But I mean, they're
No,
ready
they didn't
to
do it in Austin. by the
they're
way.
ready to
out.
roll on the hype train. And the reason I find that interesting is because this year they're like, no hype train, nothing. And the only 2 words I can use to describe this are family planning.
They also
We're not ready for our baby just yet. We're, the timing is too soon. I can't get pregnant in May. I don't have the money, I don't have the time. I need to wait a little while. Now,
This is all right. So that does make sense because they
That-
also got rid of their Sony yearly conference thing.
exactly. They did that this year. PlayStation Expo 2018 was canceled, and they haven't canceled it in
Quite a,
25 years.
Yeah, like-
because 2019 will be
since they started it.
yeah, 2019 will be the 25th year anniversary. We didn't have a 24th year PlayStation Expo. If anything is going to happen as far as a new console announcement goes, because now it cannot happen at E3, it will be at their big 25 years of PlayStation party that they're having in 2019.
What if they don't even announce it there, though?
It's
Well,
also
then
kinda
I don't
weird 'cause
know
they-
when
that's
they're-
at the end of the year. That would be
Right. Well, then I don't know when they're going to do
Weird.
it. But here's the thing. Sony was first to market with the PlayStation 4 with the, lower price and the hardware that was basically the same, but lower price and more games to show for launch. And that was their advantage, and that's how they won this console generation. I don't think there's anything to be gained for them this time around being first to market. Because Xbox has done what Microsoft can do for this entire generation. When they were behind in hardware, they said, well, here's a faster one, and here's an even faster one. Oh, you're going to make a pro model? Here's a better one. We got you beat on hardware every single time. All the games that you can play, we can play just that little bit better.
Microsoft can
that
out
actually
R&D
matters.
Sony.
Right. So if they let Microsoft announce their console, which I don't know if they will or not, if they let Microsoft announce their
Consoles.
yeah, all 57 of them when nobody needs that. When they announce their next gen piece of hardware at E3, if they do, Sony will have several months to respond to that.
counter it. They have time to sit there and go like, shit, do we need to add more memory? Do we need
Right.
What can we do to make ours maybe slightly better?
Right.
Instead
And
of
how do
they
we
did
affect-
announce them?
yeah.
They were announced at the same time, and they were like Hector said, they're fucking identical.
Yeah.
One had faster
Well,
RAM.
one was they are pretty much fucking identical.
Sony
But
had faster
one was
RAM,
sold
and that
for
was-
$100 less.
And that was the shitty thing is Sony actually had faster RAM. They decided to take more of a loss at the beginning than Microsoft was allowing themselves to take.
Right.
And that helped them the fuck out.
See, I feel like overall, my opinions about whether this is good or bad for Sony, I think this is extremely good because, unfortunately, they've had a bad problem reacting, right?
Oh, yeah.
Xbox has got this Xbox One X coming out, and they're like, yeah, but we're doing the PS4 Pro. And then, like, when you look at the two side by side, you're like, why would I buy a PS4 Pro?
The PS4 Pro was
Like, this
announced
is-
first.
Yeah, and I've never bought a PS4 Pro, and I am,
And that's
for
the
all
thing is
intents and
that- is
purposes, a
that-
Sony fanboy.
So many people did buy into the PlayStation 4, they would have had to really upgrade their system for the PS Pro to be worth it. But the market was already saturated with the PlayStation 4, which meant that people that didn't buy the PS4, that didn't buy the Xbox One, could look at the Xbox One X and go, that's a pretty powerful
Yeah, no,
system.
because if you look at them side by side, you look at the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X, and you're like, well, I already have a PlayStation 4, and the stats on the PS4 Pro aren't that
Yeah.
much better.
I mean, it's great
It can't
to be
really
able to-
actually do 4K.
Right,
and
it's
this
great to
one
be able to play
can.
my games in the resolution that my TV comes in, whether it's checkerboard or not. The average consumer won't really notice. People like us absolutely would, but the average consumer wouldn't. But there's I have a 4K TV, and
it's
I have
also-
no reason to buy that thing.
Yeah, no. The if you have a 4K TV and you like watching like UHD stupid 4K Blu-rays, do not buy a PS4 Pro.
Right.
Buy an Xbox One X. It has the cheapest, best fucking drive you could possibly get to have that graphical capability on your fucking
So
screen.
to go back to the topic here, this is pulling out of this E3 is a good thing for Sony, and I think them actually going radio silent completely this year is in their best interest.
No, I love it because they already announced all of the Death Knell games for the system.
Yeah.
What do we have? Death Stranding. We have the Japanese.
First
game,
off,
keep
I don't even
forgetting.
think Death Stranding's coming out this generation.
I think Death Stranding might be on
The
two
engine they're
generations.
using,
Yeah.
they borrowed from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't come out in 2019, it'll come out in 2020 before the new console comes out. It
That's
will
just gonna
come
say,
out.
I think it might come out on both
yes,
systems.
You're
So-
likely. It's very likely it will
Yeah,
come out.
do
on
think
both
about that.
systems.
We're going to get, and that's one of the later questions we'll get into here in a few.
Right, but so we have and Death Stranding isn't a Sony only title. It's not.
Sure.
But we have obviously The Last of Us 2. We have that Japanese feudal Japan game that I can't remember the name of.
The
this
Ghost of
moment.
Tsushima or whatever.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I want to say I'm forgetting about one, but they have.
I butchered that name, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that they already
no,
have.
I thought you used to Ghost of Sashimi.
Yeah,
I was like,
that's-
not what it's called at all. But
they
okay.
have.
That was my dinner on Friday.
They have their
Yeah, the
late
Ghost of
stage
Tsushima.
games.
Yeah.
They have them all ready to go. All they need is a little bit of floor space to be like, you want to play these games? We got. Just come and look. Press wants to see these games live right before they come out. Come and look. And they don't need to do a stage performance. And
Also,
if they're
E3
not,
is a notoriously expensive
no,
thing
it-
to do.
and you know what they might not have, even if they already have their hardware ready to go and ready to show, they might not have a lot of games to show you.
Yeah.
And they're probably waiting until they can be like, we're still the place for the best exclusives. We're still the place to go for the games that are going to win
Well,
those
we
awards.
don't know what the new contracts are with all the.
We have
other
no idea.
with the third-party developers because
There's a lot
that's
of-
where the exclusives currently are at.
There's a lot of hypotheticals in this. So let's take Sony out of the equation for a minute and talk about things that at least one thing that Tony likes to talk about, and that's Microsoft. But with Sony being out of E3 this year, what can Nintendo and Microsoft do to really take advantage of this opening? I already have my idea.
You have
but
your
go.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, so like I'm already looking forward to some more information about what we're getting from the new studios from Microsoft side. As for Nintendo, maybe we don't show 45 minutes of Smash Brothers. Maybe we just don't do that.
Nobody
Like,
with a Switch cares about anything else, though. It's in their best interest
according
to
to
show another
Nintendo-
45 minutes. Of
According to Nintendo, there's only one game that's ever come out for the Switch, and it's Smash Brothers.
If they
and that's
had-
the only game that will ever come out.
If they had the director of the final Smash Brothers come out and give a 45-minute TED talk about how complete the game is,
are you still gonna call
everyone
it-
would watch it.
Yeah, are you gonna say
Everyone
you
would
still gonna
watch it.
call it a
Okay, so
success?
you guys are sitting here making fun of Nintendo, but I want an honest
Well, no,
answer
because
to the
I
question.
can't really figure out
Well,
what
I'm going to let Tony finish the
I
answer.
can't
was
really figure out what
commenting on it.
You
Nintendo
can't
can
do
do aside
Nintendo.
from, except for Nintendo can do exactly what Nintendo's already been doing, and that is doing a nice little small, sweet, not super overly over the top explanation of what they have planned coming out for later down the year. But within the next like 6 months,
Yeah.
like give me that 6 months. Like, hey, we're at E3. This is all the games that are coming out this summer for you to play. We'll talk to you more about the games that are coming out this winter in the middle of the summer. And here's some stuff looking forward to the next year. Maybe they will give us some new Joy-Cons that have like an extra motor or actually
Right.
fit my fucking hands. That would be awesome. And now,
There are rumors that there's going to be an upgraded Switch, but we don't know anything.
I
about
think
it.
they need to do the same thing they do with the fucking DS. Also, if they announce the death of DS, I will be the fucking happiest person on the earth because I
Yeah,
will.
For somebody that doesn't care about Nintendo stuff, you care an awful lot about you. You really want to die on this hill for the 3DS.
I feel
I just
like
really
that
hate the 3DS.
I feel
Bring
like they
me
could
back my
announce,
fucking
like,
single screen,
a nicer
motherfucker.
screen for the Switch, and people would be happy.
Yeah, no, like maybe like if they make a Switch XL.
Right.
And they let it just run the exact. Don't give me a fucking Wii U where it's a different thing. Just literally same fucking games. All the games.
No, they've
will
already
run
made
on
that
it.
mistake. Nintendo's smarter than that.
Yeah, no, they'll run all the same games, but it has a slightly faster processor.
Yeah.
It has a slightly larger screen, and the Joy Cons actually fucking fit people's hand. I tried holding one of those sideways where you're just like, two people can play. You're like, babies.
Hey,
babies.
I
can
have
play.
played 3 hours of Mario Party on one of those.
It fucking hurt
You
my
wanna
hands.
die
Like, no, it
afterwards.
fucking sucked.
Okay, so we're still deviating
Yeah.
away from this.
That's still
What-
I know,
Nintendo.
and that's what I want from
So
Nintendo.
you're-
Like Nintendo,
Okay,
I
but
want
that's
Nintendo,
fine. But you need
Nintendo,
to
like,
talk about
keep
Microsoft now.
what Microsoft can do. Based on what he said so far, I feel like we did the acquisitions last year. I think we might get the first showings of what's coming from the future. Honestly, I don't really want a lot from Microsoft this year. I want them to fucking hold off. I want them to do the same thing that Sony's doing. Be like, we're not showing you our next generation shit yet because we want to keep that behind board so we can go like, here, look at all of amazing shit in the 2020.
Right.
Literally, show us all of these amazing games and go, well, and everybody going like, wait, these look way too good to be coming out right now. And go like, by the way, here's the consoles. Here's where they come out. This year, I don't really want fucking anything from Microsoft.
Right.
I'd maybe a little bit of saying what new companies are acquiring. Actually, that'd be it. I want them to acquire like 15 more companies. I want them to come and say, by the way, we bought blah 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 blah.
Right.
And Konami and fuck you. Those now all of their games are ours.
We literally burned down all the pachinko machines.
Actually, would not be the best E3 ever?
It's true.
If anybody, I don't care who it is, Nintendo, Sony, fucking anybody came and said, by the way, we bought Konami. They're stopping this. We're only making these. And it'd be like, you have my heart forever. Thank you.
So, Hector, what about you? What can Nintendo and Microsoft do to really take advantage of Sony not being an E3?
Oh, so I'll start with Nintendo, and I think they're already going to do this. We talked about new hardware, and I think they can do that, and it will be take it or leave it.
It'll be iterative update.
Yeah, a lot of people won't care if they already have a Switch. If they don't have a Switch yet, they'll just look at the price point and decide which one they want. What they'll do is they'll show me some motherfucking Metroid 4 that they announced 2 years ago and we haven't seen since.
Right. We know it's in development. They've said that.
Yeah. And if they show me some Metroid 4 and for God's sake give me a release date and then say, oh yeah, and Waluigi and Smash Brothers, and then just Reggie
They already said Waluigi's not coming to Smash Brothers.
Yeah, but they've said a lot of things. But the fucking piranha plants in Smash Brothers now, man. Waluigi can't be done this way. So they're just like, oh yeah, so here's Metroid, here's Samus just doing her thing, and this glorious thing that you can take with you.
I forgot that they announced Metroid
I know.
4. Like,
but think about how
about
anticipated that game is.
Apparently not very much for me because I forgot they even announced it.
You don't like Nintendo games, so it doesn't apply to you.
They show that. They just the Waluigi thing is a half joke, but they could really just announce that Reggie could drop the mic and that would be Nintendo. Just peace out.
Why don't they make a Waluigi's Mansion and be like, you see Waluigi come out and it looks like it's a Smash Brothers map and then it turns into Waluigi's Mansion?
Like it's Waluigi and like game. Also Bowsette for some reason.
Because that.
Right.
It's its own separate thing. It's not even...
So...
Yeah,
that's Nintendo. Microsoft, what I would like to see from them, as someone who has not bought one of their consoles for a while, but would like to see them succeed. Last year, we heard about all these acquisitions. They said, we got some great stuff in the pipeline. Yep. Now, I'm not asking for release dates.
Those are some great companies they got, too.
I'm not asking for release dates. I'm not asking for, like, full-blown epic trailers. Just show me what you're working on. Show me some really awesome stuff.
Show me what you got.
Show me what you got. Show me, like, where all this is taking us in the future. Show me some new IPs. Should have never heard of, and I go, fuck, that's a cool world to live in. That feeling the feeling you had the first time you looked at the Horizon Zero Dawn trailer in 2015 and were like, what the fuck is that? Oh, I want to go to there. That's what I want from Microsoft. Show me that, and then show me that I don't have to buy an Xbox One to get it, knowing that an Xbox 5, 7, or whatever is coming out next year is coming out in 2020.
Do you think
show me the games and be like, they're on the next console. Here's when the next console comes out. Wait for it.
Do you think that... All right, so I love all those. And I just have one side where I just want to like say no on it because Microsoft has shown a lot of games that have been like, these look amazing, and then canceled them.
Yeah,
and that was
true.
their internal games.
Yeah.
And so I'm very worried about that. The other one was, would you also like, because this just kind of occurred to me, that this is the year 2019, where they say, by the way, the Game Pass, here's all of the games that are backwards compatible from the original Xbox up to the Xbox right now, that if you buy Game Pass, are available on PC right now with the remastered Xbox store, making it where it's just Xbox Live store on website, on the app, everything is all just the same fucking experience.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, if they drop that, I would buy it immediately, like 100%. I might even like considering the library. I might even consider getting an Xbox for it. That's a good point because
the library is huge.
When
now.
I bought Battlefield 5 to play it. I didn't buy the $60 game. I bought the Origin Pass for $15 a month, which, I mean, I still haven't paid for twice. And not only did I buy Battlefield 5 and start playing it, but I realized that A Way Out is an EA Origin title. And I've always wanted to play that game since it came out last year. And it seems really fun. It's a cool little couch co-op game that just epic as hell.
That's
and the one with the two guys trying to get out of prison?
Yeah, I've been wanting to play that game for ages.
And
but I didn't want to...
With the Origin Pass, I got that game too. Like, I bought it for Battlefield 5 just so I could play Battlefield 5. And I realized I had access to that game, and I was like, download. I can't wait for someone to come over and we'll play this. And I started looking through the library. I'm like, there's a ton of shit that I didn't buy because it was on Origin.
Yeah.
But, and think about how exponentially that would be magnified with an Xbox Pass.
Yeah.
It, like I said, I
the
just
pass
said,
is already totally worth it at this
it
point.
might convince me to buy the console, not the Xbox One, but whatever the next one is. If I can get the entire back library of like 360 games and have cool titles from great studios coming up, that's a sale. That's a sale for me.
See, from my end, to answer the question, what Nintendo and Microsoft can do to take advantage of Sony being out of the game this year, it's pretty simple. I think in terms of Nintendo really just needs to keep being Nintendo. You hit on some good points, Hector, like really just giving you that Metroid 4 announcement. Because here's the thing, is that we come to expect 15 great announcements when Sony and Microsoft take the stage. For Nintendo, it's like that one great thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we were like, spoiled when we got Zelda and Mario with the Switch launch.
Right.
Yeah, no, like that's the thing is, like, Nintendo's announced when I said do this, keep doing the same. Yeah, you're gonna show us like 6 trailers.
Yeah.
Of which one's gonna be the holy shit, that's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And then other than that, we're gonna go like, cool, we're gonna see this again in 3 months. We don't really care. You do this every 3 months.
Yeah, and they're consistent, and that's great.
Yeah.
So that's going to be fine. I think the bigger one here is
One
going
of
to
their
be
winning strategies being that level of consistent.
Yeah. Now for Microsoft, what can they do to take advantage of Sony not being there? And I've already ranted at both of you outside the show about this, so you've already heard my theory. But this is what you need to do as Microsoft. So you come out on stage, E3, right? Big deal. You say, all right, here's the deal. First thing that we're going to show you is what our new studios have been working on. We said last year, here are all the titles that they were working on. Some of them will be available soon, some of them not.
7 studios now.
So, yeah, 7 studios now. Here you go. Here's all the studios. And some of them will be, have dates attached to them. Some will be kind of down the road kind of deals. They said, all right, now that we have the initial crop out of the way, next part of the E3, we're going to go ahead and show you our new console. And our new console is not a new console in the sense that it is a Xbox 3 or whatever. This is our discless Xbox that you can purchase today or soon. And it comes in at under, maybe $150 of what the market price is right now. Right. So it runs all the Xbox One X hardware, which by that point will have already become cheaper. You market it down for $150, $200 less to make it easily accessible for everybody. You say, all right, so it's got no disc. So what do you want to do with this? Well, obviously you've got your Xbox Gold, so everybody wants to get those free games per month. We've got Xbox Game Pass. Check that out. For those of you looking to buy new games, if you're okay with not owning a physical copy of the disc, from this point going forward, any game that comes out for the Xbox will be priced $10 to $20, varying on a couple of factors, cheaper than the retail copy, because we are not having to print those. Thus, we can pass the savings on to the consumer.
If you buy it from our store.
If you buy it from our store. That is the
Get on Xbox, put in your credit card, buy it from us. You'll
or
download.
PayPal.
Yeah.
I use PayPal on
Yeah, that's fine. You did download it to your console, and that's yours. And you paid less than you would at a GameStop or a Walmart or a Best Buy.
You get it instantly and however fast your internet connection is.
And this has a twofold prospect to it. And Microsoft, if you are listening to this episode, understand this is where the moneymaker is. At first you go, wow, charging $40 for a AAA game or $50 for a AAA game, that's unheard of. But think about how many games come with season passes and built-in add-on content that they expect you to buy day one. So normally you're paying $60 for the main game and $80 for the collector's edition with all the extra DLC, when now you just bump that price down to $60, which was already the cost of your normal game. And you're creating none of that excess physical content that goes with it.
None of that plastic, none of that printing of like
the little literally
booklets,
shipping back and forth.
None of the shipping, none of the returns you get from people returning their games to
you can still digitally return games. They give you like 14 days in some cases, and you
don't
just go,
worry about your studios getting robbed by resales.
So you announce all of this, and people start to get on board. They go, "Wow, like I buy a game for cheaper because it's digital. That's fantastic. Like I might want to invest in this thing."
Right.
So that's what you start pushing. Then you go move on to the indie section of the E3 presentation. You show all the cool indie titles that are coming out.
The fact
like
that Idea Xbox has actually now gone past 1,000 independent games that have been part of the Xbox community surpasses everybody else.
No,
like,
it's a huge deal.
Hugely. And everybody's like, indie games aren't on Xbox. You're like, motherfucker,
Yeah.
literally all of the indie
Pretty
games
much
are
all.
on Xbox.
Yeah, like I mean, they're all on Steam, but like most of them are on the Xbox.
They
too.
were created
This is how you
with
finish
Microsoft.
Yeah.
your Microsoft press conference. You get the big sizzle reel at the end where you show off all the cool stuff that you just showed. You get everybody really hyped for it. At this point, I'm excited. Like,
Don't tell me they're going to give you the Scorpio ending where they're like, by the way, here's the Xbox One like hidden thing that they did, and in the last like 2 seconds, you're like, cool, new hardware that we're not going to see at all.
Kind of, but not really.
Okay, because that's
So-
like the
I feel like
biggest
that'll be
fucking
the
cock
PlayStation.
tease.
We go to this and we get the sizzle reel, and then we get coming soon, and we get the what's expected, which is the code name for whatever the next Xbox is.
Yeah.
But and you think that that's their, but wait, there's more. But the final announcement is, coming soon. Like we call it the Xbox platform,
Right.
and all you see is like a picture of a computer monitor, and the Xbox logo pops up, and then they cut to black.
Yeah, I mean that's what we want. That's the dream.
Yeah.
Is the Xbox without the actual box, right? And
Or the
that,
Xbox everywhere.
What they're
Right.
saying right there is that you can buy this new badass console that's going to be possibly we're going to talk about next year, or coming soon is that platform which you could, if you have a good enough computer, you just stick it on there and call it a day.
right, and yeah, that's the whole thing. And you know what? I'll tell you something about the video game industry and fans as a whole. For every your mom is gay 12-year-old playing Call of Duty, for every idiot in the gaming community, as a community, we recognize when we're being treated fairly and when we're not. So if Microsoft comes out with a lot of very consumer-friendly, consumer-forward-thinking practices, and they announce them all at E3 and go, here we go, off into the next generation, people will attach themselves.
Honestly,
In fact,
if
I would almost
10%
say-
of what you said comes true, that's a really fucking good win for Microsoft.
It really
yeah.
is.
Just 10% of it. And
I mean,
that's
I can actually almost picture the trailer in my head, because when you think about the Xbox platform, you're thinking about the fact you can use it anywhere, right?
Right.
So
because they've already said they're doing their game streaming to phones and tablets
that's the thing,
and
is you
everything.
just roll this commercial. It looks like
Yeah.
you see this guy walking down the street, and he goes to answer his phone, and it's just like a notification, like your friend just signed on to Xbox, and instead of like him replying,
Join party.
like boom, join party, and it pulls something up. All right, you're just like, wow, that's this. The next scene, you see somebody sit down and maybe move from like playing on their phone to playing what looks like a new console. They haven't even said like a new console's coming soon.
Right.
Here's a prototype box. They're sitting down and playing. Like,
Right.
that's a new console. You've just told us without telling us that's a new console. And then he goes and takes that game and sits down at a PC and loads up that Gears of War or whatever. And you're like, fuck. We are now Xbox as a platform.
Right.
Everybody simultaneously shits themselves at E3, and
Right.
Microsoft wins.
And that's the thing about services. And fuck so many video games are trying to do this. Fuck you, Fallout 76, by the way. The idea of like people trying to take their video games and make them a service, fuck that. We hate that. We hate that. Yes, I know a trillion people play Fortnite, but it's a shitty gaming practice, and we don't need more of that.
So much of me wants to play Fallout 76, but also I just can't.
Right,
fucking
we
do
don't
it.
need.
but
We
when I
don't
talk
need. Well, yeah. So games as a service, fuck you. Platforms as a service is what Netflix is.
Yeah.
We all want that. We
Yeah.
all love that. I just bought an EA subscription as a service, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of value out of it. And this is EA. Oh my god!
Yeah.
I
The
hate EA.
worst- the
but you know
company
what?
everybody
This is
that
the
plays
best
games hates.
gaming deal that I've maybe ever gotten. If I can get it from Microsoft, I'm there day one.
So that's my idea of what I think Microsoft could do to literally blow the balls off of everybody and say Microsoft is here to stay.
Yeah, for real. If you want to be the Netflix of gaming, sign me up.
Right. So
And we've already said that's what they've been planning
Right.
on for years.
So-
whenever they've been doing all this backwards compatibility.
Right. So we need to wrap this whole thing up. We've been running a little bit long. So let's bring this whole thing back to Sony for a minute. Now that we've made our predictions for what we would love to see at E3 this year, our final question for the panel is, what can Sony do at the 2020 E3 that will rock the games industry when they come out on stage?
I mean, I think we all know the answer. If they do what I think they're going to do, and they announce the console at PSX 25, then in 2020 we'll have E3, and we'll know that there's a new console coming out, and they basically just open the curtains.
Literally, because they've done that so many times.
Bloodborne 2. Close the curtains. Give everyone tissues. And like that's pretty much it. I mean, we've had all of our Uncharteds. Of course, we'd like to see some new IPs, but what Sony does and what they've done since the PlayStation 3 is lead with their exclusives first,
Right.
and show you that they're working on some high quality, non-nickel and dime, epic story style games.
Right.
Show them to you, show you this incredible work of art that they've had a studio like working on for like 5 years, and we didn't even know about it, and be like, you can only get this on the PlayStation. Don't you want one?
Right.
And we'll all say, yes, Daddy, thank you. And I mean, that's all Sony has had to do. They've really gotten the formula down.
Yeah.
So it'd be weird to me if they did anything different.
Okay. What about you, Tony? What do you think that Sony can do in 2020 when they come out on stage that would really just blow the balls off of everybody?
Okay, personally, I actually believe that they're not going to come out in 2020 anymore. They are done with E3. I think that this is the first time that this is what I was saying, that this is a response from the gaming industry to say E3 isn't where we need to go to make these things. We can do them ourselves, faster, cheaper, more economic, and I think that they might do their own. Their own direct, kind of like Nintendo Direct, or
There's
their
a lot
own
less hassle doing
PSX
their own
thing
party.
by themselves, separate. They'll do like a live stream at the same. They'll have like a section. They'll have some games there.
It'll be at E3 and
they'll be at E3, but they're not actually going to show up there.
Okay. So let's take that out of the equation. I do
But
respect
I
your opinion
honestly
about that.
think that they won't be at E3 2020. That their response for if they have to do something at that point, like let's say they've already announced the console at PSX 2025 or PSX 25, which is
In 2019,
yeah, that's to get the numbers correct.
Yeah.
Which does seem highly logical from based on what's been going on from Sony so far.
Right.
That if they did just do a live stream from somewhere, an actually well put together, rehearsed, done performance that doesn't have the atrocities of the last few years of Sony in it, like an actual like Hollywood production,
Right.
it start off strong with your first party titles, your in-house exclusives,
Right.
the things that you've been working on, the things that show us this is the reason why you should be buying ours first, because of what we made, not what anybody else made. And then follow that up with by the way, here's all the things we spent money on to get third parties to join in with us, because they're not joining out of loyalty. It's the fucking how much money they throw at
here's the new Call of Duty from Activision, and we paid Activision to have the new map here for a month. First on our console. One thing that
I really want, I really want this. I want Activision to get their head out of their ass and think about this for 1 second. Make it exclusive for fucking both of them. That's double the fucking amount of money.
Okay. So I think
that's also a double fuck you to both sides. I would love if Activision decided to do that shit.
So as we need to kind of wrap this thing up, my answer to the question of what can Sony do in 2020 that would rock the games industry when they come out. So I'm picturing the three of us. Obviously, we've all made it to E3. We're all sitting in the crowd. We're waiting for everything to happen. There's going to be no craziness. There's going to be no, what they did with The Last of Us. We're going to just be auditorium, screen, comes on, start game trailers. All game trailers that we are watching during these first couple minutes are all going to be games that came out on the PS4.
Yeah.
Right. We're watching them like, okay, they're stroking each
I
other's
remember
dicks.
these games. I played these games.
Yeah, I played these games. I get
There's
this.
God of War.
So you
want
a 30-second supercut of trailers. So it's like 30 seconds of this one, 30 seconds of this one.
It's like the greatest hits. It's like at the Oscars where they'd like hear all the like top 10 Oscar-winning movies this year.
It doesn't even need to be. It can just spend a couple seconds on each one. Doesn't matter to me. Just show me all these flashes of games that were.
It's over in like
Sony
3 or 4
exclusives.
minutes.
Right. Okay. And at the very end of this thing, all it needs to say is something along the lines of, play it on your PS4 or up-res to play on your PS5.
Yeah.
And it cuts. That right there, you told the audience, these games that you bought previously, you can stick into your PS5. They are backwards compatible, and much like Microsoft is doing, they are now up-res for the new system. That's a strong. It's a bold move.
It is,
right?
And when you think about the hardware, I mean, it's just a PC. Like, it's not like a PlayStation 3 with like a weird 8-core shit that someone had to program around. It's just a PC.
We've already
So if we
established
have a-
that AMD is making the processors
Right.
again for both Microsoft and Sony.
So if we have a PlayStation 5 and they say, yeah, you can still download all the same games for the PlayStation 4, it's the same store.
Yeah.
And they play on the PlayStation 5, and they're a little bit up-res, and they have, you know, a little bit nicer anti-aliasing,
So that
maybe a little bit better frame
right,
rate.
That loops us into the conversation about the console ourselves. Let's get our 5-minute fucking dick stroking our dick conversation where they come
Yeah.
on stage. Here's what it looks like. Here's what the specs are. Whatever. Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
You leave the stage. From there, you go into things like your indie titles.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it would be a strong move on Sony's part to start pushing that PlayStation Now that we've been hearing is so damn popular.
Yeah.
Give us some new reasons to get us, who, by the way, didn't know it was that popular.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
know.
whenever
apparently
you said it was
it's-
popular, it's like
it's
the fuck it is. I literally know one person that has it.
It is incredibly popular, just not in the United States.
Right. And so find us new ways to make that popular.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go down that road. And I could continue down my theoretical, like, best Sony press conference,
Mm-hmm.
but it really does always end the same way in my head. And yes, I get that I have a bias because I'm literally wearing a Bloodborne fucking hoodie right now. But you cut your one more thing
Mm-hmm.
is Bloodborne 2 and give a release date.
Yeah.
There you go. You're going to need to throw some more first-party stuff in there to make it feasible, but that's what
sure.
Sony would need to come out and really make a bold statement.
And
2020.
Bloodborne 2 would be it. That would be a system seller, period.
So there is something I want from both Microsoft and Sony at this point. I want the actual embracement of 1080p gaming on console, meaning that the 4K shit is fine and all for movies or content. I want somebody to come out and say, yeah, you can play. We're not doing this game in 4K. This game is coming out in 1080p because it's great at 1080p. But it also will run at 90 frames or 120 frames a second on your console at this. Because we don't need it to be the best, largest screen possible. We want the game to play the best.
And we've had that in the past. For God of War 3, when it came out on the PlayStation 3, they were like, here's the game, look how beautiful it looks. It runs at 60 frames a second. And everyone was like, what? Who cares? What do you... That I know some of those words. What are you talking about? And everyone who knew what they meant was like, fucking really? Oh my God, that's 60 frames a second. Look how smooth everything looks. And it's you know, a combat spectacle game like Devil May Cry. So everything needs to be smooth and needs to look awesome, and it really did. And that was a big win, and not a lot of people appreciated it then, but I feel like they really would
You know,
now.
for like recently going back and playing Destiny 2 on PC just to like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
just play some more and playing it at like at roughly 70 frames a second versus the 30 that
30,
the
yeah.
console's locked to because they said they wanted to go with 4K. I'm like, cool.
Yeah,
fuck you. This game is so much better when
Yeah.
it doesn't have to play like shit because you wanted to make the screen bigger.
Right, and it's night and day, and the day side is the lower resolution with the better frame rate. That's the good one.
Yeah.
When you're like, but it's 4K. Fuck you.
4K
All right.
is great for movies. I don't need it in my fucking games.
We've got a lot of theories about the way this could have gone. Obviously, this is just us putting up predictions of what we would like to happen, what could happen. We have no actual solid answers about how any of this is going to go.
Well, we do know one thing. Sony won't be there.
Sony won't be there.
really-
That is the
there.
facts.
That's the only thing that we
So
know
if
for
you have
certain.
any theories about what Nintendo or Microsoft could do to like really come to and bring some life to the stage of E3, let us know.
I forgot the most important thing.
What?
Microsoft wins hand down when they actually show gameplay of Battletoads.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
we'll
it.
see some
Because they
Battletoads.
announced it last year. We're gonna see gameplay of Battletoads.
you
We
go.
better.
And the internet will lose its shit.
Let's wait until we see it before we praise it.
It could be bad.
I don't want it to be
Well,
bad. I
well-
want it to be great,
Well,
but it
Phil,
could be bad.
the head of Xbox, his most recent like picture that he has when he made the tweet about how like Xbox has a lot to show off is wearing a fucking Battletoads t-shirt.
No, and that's all, and that's all well and good. And I'm saying, like, it could be like Arkham Knight for Battletoads. It could also be Superman 64. Like, we have to wait and see.
All right, that's everything we have for the show this week. If you have any opinions
Could be
about
that Barbie
any of
pony
the
game.
things that we talked about, we have lots of places where they can, where you can reach out to us. Tony, where can they find us?
Facebook.com/TheSurlyNerd, like, share, blah, blah, blah. Twitter's at TheSurlyNerd, Twitter that. Info@TheSurlyNerd.com is our email address. It fucking works now!
You can email us.
Yeah, you can email us. That's a thing that, you know, if you feel like being in the 90s.
Yeah.
We've got, we're on Spotify.
We're on Spotify.
We are on Spotify.
So if you're listening to us on something other than Spotify, cool. Give us a rating review on there. If you're listening on Spotify,
Share with your friends.
Share with
But I
your
get to
friends.
get Spotify in your car, and you can share things with people if you like
Yeah.
it. Share us with your friends who
Share
like
us.
video games.
Expose us to your friends.
Yeah, just
Expose yourself to your friends.
With consent.
yeah. Show them what you like, but just expose it to them.
Yeah.
and it's us.
Yes.
Yes,
Show me what you got.
we're your metaphorical dick. Just show us to your friends.
All right, that's everything that we have for the show this week. We've been running too long, too sidetracked. Until next week, for Tony, this is James.
For James and Tony.
And I'm Hector.
Adventurers, good night.
And good game.
Don't y'all have phones? I had to.
It worked pretty well. I was like, I'm not editing that out. Like, as soon as you said it, I was like, I'm keeping that. That's fine. I just really have to pee. Again. I have to pee. So it's...
I should have said it when we talked about Spotify, but it's still good.
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and sign this out. No one's watching.